Crossover.
Oh, killer crossover.
Just crossover.
It just crossed him over nastily. Another victim to the crossovers. Cross him up and sit him down.
Hey, man, you got your own, bro. How are you going to unplug another man's computer?
I need the LAN cable. It's my turn to be on the air.
Am I not on the air right now?
It's my turn. It's my turn.
Am I not?
It's my turn.
Am I not?
It's my turn.
You straight up took that out of my computer.
I needed
Didn't
my
say
LAN cable.
Anything? You have a LAN cable. It's right there.
He just it was Schaefer. Schaefer was hogging the LAN
which I
cable.
wasn't using,
There
and I
should be
never
3.
use. My computer is never on during this segment.
Isn't there 3?
There's only 2.
Really?
There's only 2 LAN cables.
Okay. Well, you took the wrong one, buddy.
I clearly.
Yeah, take one.
I
for
messed
me.
with the wrong ding ding man today.
That's right. I was just trying to watch a video during
Ding,
the break,
ding
and I was
man,
like,
not ding ding boy.
"Where'd my internet go?"
Where ding ding boys become ding ding mans. Yeah, never heard of that today. Till I listened to about 8 minutes of the show, and that was the moment I decided to listen to, which was just that
Probably
epiphany.
the highlight of the show.
I've never heard of that before. I will say it does make sense immediately when you go ding ding man. I was like, oh, they probably ding a bell or something like that. At least it makes somewhat sense.
Well, I don't say it because it makes any sense.
You just say it because that's how you were raised.
That's what we say.
Just the ice cream man, or we called it the ice cream truck.
yeah, that
It was the ice cream
truck. I suppose.
The ice cream truck is
Very
here.
literal.
It was, even though it was never
I
a
suppose
truck.
nowadays you'd probably call it.
What
the
was
ice
your order
cream
from
person.
this truck, Matt?
I got the Choco Taco growing up. I also did the strawberry shortcake one where
Yeah,
it's like
that's what Lawrence was.
yeah, the strawberry shortcake one was those, but I was a Choco Taco man.
Sam was the cookie sandwich.
That was my brother. Chris always got the cookie sandwich. Lulu always got, my sister, she always got the SpongeBob. She loved the SpongeBob.
With the
That was her
gumball
favorite.
eyes.
Yeah.
I always
Are
got Batman or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles
with
was a
gumball
dope one.
eyes,
I remember
yeah.
one time I got Raph because they would switch up which Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle you would get. And typically you would get Mikey.
Oh, wow.
You get the orange one.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, one time I got Raph and I was so fired. I was like, this is awesome. This is incredible.
See, I just don't like candy flavored ice cream. Like I just like ice cream
Sure.
or candy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I get that.
With that being said, I did go to a local ice creamery yesterday.
Ooh.
Nice.
And I got a birthday cake flavored ice cream, and it rocked my socks.
Birthday cake is a
was
very
awesome.
universal flavor in terms of I'll have birthday cake yogurt. I'll have birthday cake cake. I'll have birthday cake ice cream. I'll have a birthday cake shake. Like anything like birthday cake flavor. If there was a birthday caked bagel, I'd have that. I feel like it tastes pretty good.
I didn't know about that. I didn't know about any of those things.
You didn't know the
Birthday cake ice cream is pretty common.
birthday cake froyo is.
I think there's birthday cake donuts that exist.
Yeah. I think birthday
See,
cake.
I would
is-
just eat it.
It's like it's like a popular side flavor.
It's just like a funfetti. It's just vanilla and sprinkles.
Well, you
is
know what I
birthday
love?
cake.
Usually it's yellow, isn't it? It's like yellow cake with the sprinkles.
Yes, essentially.
My favorite flavor of the nothing bunt cakes are those.
Oh,
The birthday cake, I think.
I think
Ooh, okay.
I think I may
That's
have
question.
It's fire.
I may have a bunt cake once a year, and I never
never had a
complained.
The nothing
Bundt
bun
cake?
cakes. I'm
What's
a
a
fan.
nothing? I've never had a nothing bunt.
Check it out, man. They're taking over. I bet all the people who go to nothing bunt cakes here in Omaha call it the Ding Ding Man. And they're all walking in there like, oh my God, did you
Not
go
all
to
the
Ding Ding
people.
Man in your neighborhood?
Ding Ding
today?"
Man told me to come to nothing but bunt
If
cakes.
the Ding Ding Man sold nothing bun cakes, it would probably increase his overall.
Yeah,
you know,
actually.
I wouldn't be
operation.
surprised
Yeah.
if there was a partnership
Oh,
in the
I
works.
get it. It's a pun. Nothing bunt
Uh-huh.
cake. See, it took me a second.
I go lemon. I think is my
It's a
top
good one,
choice
yeah.
there. I like red velvet. out of
Red
that as
velvet's my
well.
number one with the
Yeah.
vanilla icing on the top of
Yep.
it. Pretty great. I gotta look this up.
Pedro writes in,
Hi, Pedro.
hi guys, bomb pops always in American color. Bomb pop.
That's my
you
dad.
You communist.
There
That's what it
was-
says.
I don't know if
I
they.
I'm
love-
not like a big bomb pop person. Like I've had them. They're
I
fine.
am a big bomb pop
Okay.
person.
My father and my son each had a bomb pop at the house.
I think I've had more bomb pop flavored like Boulevard had those seltzers or whatever.
Yeah.
Pepper might know what I'm
I
talking
do.
about.
The quirks.
I think I've had more of those quirks than I've had actual bomb pops in my life.
That is terrible. You need to get more bomb pops.
It's like 6 to
If
3.
you've had more quirks than bomb pops, hell, if you've had more alcoholic beverages than bomb pops, then
Definitely had more.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean,
not
I
even
think
close.
I'm
you
5
need to
times.
get that ratio right. You need to get that ratio right.
By the way, I'm
get
looking
your bomb
at
pops up.
I'm looking at nothing bundt cakes. That white chocolate raspberry. That looks
Oh, that
incredible.
one I've had. It's not my favorite, but it's fine.
Looks good.
It's
Carrot, the carrot
Chocolate
bundt
chip-
cake.
Oh, carrot's good.
Carrot looks great.
It's all good.
Carrot cake underrated? Probably not.
I don't know that it's underrated. It's one of those things similar to salt and vinegar chips that I spent most of my life completely never having,
Sure.
and then had in my 30s, and am now obsessed with both of them.
That's me.
Salt and Vinny.
Yeah. It's if anybody ever was like my favorite dessert was carrot cake, I would go, "Ooh." I'd go, "Wow, that's a,
GTFO.
yeah, that's a very really you don't like."
Yeah, Josh is out on it.
Carrot cake can burn in hell.
Yeah, he's out on that.
What?
Wow.
What did carrot cake do to you?
It existed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is this just like an anti-carrot take, or
That's generally where it stems from. I mean, don't put carrots in cake.
That's I was waiting for that line. You can't put carrots in my cake.
Yeah.
but they have, and it's good.
It's much like soup. For
My
Josh.
my dad's
I have,
you don't like soup either.
No,
he says I
teeth.
have teeth.
Do you not
Yeah.
like vegetables?
I love vegetables.
Okay. Because my takeaway from these initial takes are you don't like vegetables.
I could understand why you would think that about take A, take B, and take C.
Hey, when you go to a ball game, are you interested in the cotton candy, Josh?
Me?
Yeah.
No, but my child will want some, so I need to know where it's at and how much it costs.
See, that's one that I could never like. There's some foods out there that just like you think about it and you don't understand it. Like,
Okay.
you just don't like. What is the fascination with this food? Well, for me, it's cotton candy. Why would anybody like
Also
that?
buffalo chicken.
Even a child. Why would even a child like the cotton candy?
I couldn't agree more.
I don't
Pure
understand.
sugar.
I don't understand why.
I couldn't agree more.
But the
I've
kids
had
aren't.
it,
The
it's
kids aren't
fine.
thinking about how much sugar it is.
They like the taste of it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the taste, right? The taste is bad. Cotton candy is.
I
good.
hate the texture.
The
It just
texture is horrible.
it just gets it's just weird.
It's an all around bad food.
I don't enjoy it.
I don't really ever want it. I know that. But as
See-
a kid, I had it and it was fine.
I don't get it. I don't get cotton candy. Put that
My-
on my list.
My freezing cold take probably is like I don't like honey buns or like the
Honey
sweet,
buns are trash.
or like the sweet like the pastries. Like you go to a bakery, like all those pastries, like and it's stuff like I just don't have a sweet tooth like that.
What's up with you and honey buns?
Yeah.
I just like a big Texas and stuff like that. Like all of the like the
I mean,
the
the
pastry
prepackaged ones.
Yeah,
layered
what's up
like
with you and honey buns?
yeah, I hate them.
I don't
like
enjoy
the
'em.
prepackaged honey buns.
I'm just not enamored by them. I'm just not.
I'm
I don't
not
know.
asking you anymore. What's up with you and honey buns?
I'm out on them. They're no good.
What?
This is like the lowest form of the Little Debbie snack would be the honey bun.
No.
They taste stale.
No, what?
And I do believe after COVID, they changed the recipe and those things are worse than they were.
Just get a fresh one.
COVID ruined
You
everything.
can't. They're in the package. You open the package. It doesn't taste good. It's not soft. It's just like isn't good.
It's just a big donut. That's all it is.
But it's not a good donut.
It's a fine donut.
No, see, that's where we're disagreeing here.
I couldn't agree more with Mike.
It's like it doesn't have a good.
I'm just failing to
Texture.
understand.
It doesn't have
It's
a
got
good
a
flavor.
terrible. I hate the texture more
It
than
doesn't
anything.
have a good aftertaste.
Do you guys
So
like
what about
cinnamon
it is
rolls?
Good.
Not really.
Do I like what?
Do you like cinnamon rolls?
Oh yeah, I love cinnamon rolls.
Not really. a big
Very
cinnamon roll
different
guy.
texture wise.
Pretty close. I mean,
No,
pretty close.
cinnamon rolls are soft. Honey buns, like
So you're
the
telling me
s-
honey buns aren't soft?
no.
Honey buns are hard.
Every experience I've had with a honey bun is it's not soft.
I think I need to get you a good honey bun.
Okay, you get me a good honey bun. And again, I'm not talking about like homemade stuff. I'm talking about the
package,
mass-produced package.
the ones that literally say
Or if
honey
you
buns.
go and like I've done this, you're golfing, it's an early tea time. You want something, but they don't have anything like hot.
Oh, that
ready to
sounds
go.
like the worst
And they
thing
have
to
the
have.
big Texas thing that he's talking about or whatever it is. Terrible.
Connor, have you seen the guy who's making PB&Js with a honey bun in the middle?
No,
Okay.
that's offensive, sort of.
Oh,
But
okay. Okay, I guess I'm the only one.
I would
I
rather
don't
just
like-
eat a peanut butter and jelly.
I don't like donuts for buns.
No. This is
No, it's in the middle.
it's in the middle. The
I don't think
is
he wants donuts combined with anything.
So the
bread,
PB&J
jelly, honey bun, peanut butter, bread.
Oh dear God, no! That's just
You also
gluttony.
seem like you only want the simplest donuts. You wouldn't want donut like where they do a lot with. it.
Totally. I do.
Yeah.
I don't really care for frosting all that much.
Right.
Yeah.
So basically, a good glazed donut will go a long way.
It will go the furthest.
There we have it.
Yeah.
But honey buns aren't good.
Do you go to that Krispy Kreme over on 120th and Center?
I do not. It's too far away from me, but I do love a glazed donut whenever I come across one.
I'm the same way. I'm not a sweet tooth guy. I very rarely, even like in breakfast, like I very rarely have like waffles or pancakes or, any of the sweet stuff. I typically have like savory, bacon, sausage, eggs. Just never, I don't know. I can't, the whole,
All of it.
the people who are like, I have a massive sweet tooth, I could not relate to in the slightest.
A couple textures right in. One from the 402 says, Mike, take that honey bun from the package and nuke it for 15 to 20 seconds. You're welcome.
Ooh.
Also, NU Tenskers says 10-second warm up.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically you already know that you have to enhance it for it to have any value.
I will say the one that probably does help because the one thing I will have a sweet tooth for, if we pass by a Cinnabon, I'm very likely to go and stop in at a Cinnabon. But because part of me, it's hot. It's just hot and it's just melting off. And there's something about that.
You find
I will
yourself
admit,
at the
I have
pumpkin
not warmed
pantry
up a
in
honey
Fremont?
bun, so that could change things. So I will say they have always been just straight out of the pack.
There was a Cinnabon by Haymarket Park for a while, wasn't there? Like it was a McDonald's Cinnabon gas station.
Well,
By
McDonald's,
Sun Valley Lane.
McDonald's
Yes.
very much dabbled with trying to have cinnamon rolls as part of their breakfast.
Mhm.
McDonald's has tried to do donuts. They've
Mhm.
tried to introduce stuff in addition to what they already have. So I don't know if that's what you're thinking.
That-
it was
No.
a shared McDonald's Cinnabon.
Oh,
That
okay.
Cinnabon McDonald's gas
Would
station.
that have been on Cornhusker there, like right after you get past the
it was
viaduct?
on Westo.
I meant Westo. I'd say Cornhusker. But right, you get past that viaduct where you'd see sweep left on the left.
You got it.
I never went there. And then the one year in senior year, I came back to go there and it closed now. It was gone.
You came back to specifically.
I've never
go
been to a
Well,
Cinnabon.
I passed by it so many times for 3 years. And like senior year, I was like, all right, when I pass by that area again, I'll go back and I'll get the Cinnabon. And when I pass by, because I'm not going to Haymarket Park a lot, there was really not a whole lot of reason for me to drive
You're not
there
a
a ton.
baseball guy.
Well, I wasn't announcing baseball games and I wasn't actively going to baseball games a ton. So when I drove by there
Nothing
that
going
one
on in
time,
West Lincoln.
no, not really. I mean,
You
I
could
was
go
in
to
the
Sun Valley
Sun
Lanes.
Valley Lanes.
no, never.
Or our
You go to the gun
favorite,
range.
our favorite car dealership, that one place.
Oh, that place is great.
Price
Right Auto.
Yeah.
You don't want to buy a lemon.
Why do you have a favorite car dealership in
They-
Because they let
once
me
let us
drive
do-
cars.
Yeah. We had a radio segment every week where we went out to this place. They hooked us up for sound and video. Happer would drive a different car every week. We would compare that car to a Husker that was on the current roster, and we would do a radio segment while in the front.
That's
seat of these
awesome.
cars.
It's great.
NU Tenskers goes Balsamans and Gretna for Cinnabons and Quiznos.
Yeah.
Dude, Quiznos, talk about a place that was like at one point felt like was competing with Subway and then just kind
I
of
don't know that
fell
I
off
ever
a
thought
map.
Quiznos was-
Wait a minute. There's a Quiznos in Gretna.
I guess this is what
You calling
And
NU
you
Tenskers
Tenskers.
a liar?
No, I'm just asking I didn't know that.
you get.
Is he talking
Hey,
about
You get your ass kicked for saying
Things
something
you
like
thought
that.
You would say today, are you calling NU Tenskers a liar?
I didn't know
Get your ass kicked for saying something like that.
that was. I guess I don't know which one is the Bosselmans. There's so many truck stops right out there. Lot
I
going
saw
on. There's about to be a
Quiznos-
Buc-ee's.
I saw a
apparently.
Quiznos sign outside of
Definitely.
South Sioux City coming back from Niobrara. It's probably the first time I've seen a Quiznos sign in a long
The
time.
only time there's two Quiznos that I know about that currently exist in my life. One is on Burlington Avenue in Hastings, and the other one is in North Platte off of the interstate,
Okay.
next to a gas station that sold
There was
me
a
water
Quiznos
for
in Epley
gas.
for the longest time, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm at
The funny thing that used to be that there was no Quiznos in Omaha, no A&W in Omaha, except for at the airport.
But we had hella Quiznos for a long time, and then all the Quiznos died.
That,
They-
is
That
that
must have been when Matt thought they
A&W
were competing with Subway.
A&W on 84th still there?
I thought that's been long gone.
Okay.
What Dodge?
That's an Amigos.
Amigos.
84th and Giles.
Oh, out there. I don't know.
At one point, there was like a very few amount of A&Ws in
Now
Nebraska.
permanently
I thought Omaha had
closed.
lost all of theirs. And Lincoln's turned into King's Classics. And
So
Amigos.
this pump and pantry with the Cinnabon has a Quiznos too. I did not know about this. Wow.
The only time I've ever had
Wow.
Cinnabon is through Pizza Hut, by the way,
Wow.
because they have that
I
partner.
think Quiznos is to the point where if I were to see it, I would go there because I just don't see them.
You gonna do a road trip out to Gretna?
Probably not.
You can go to the outlet malls.
Go to the one in North
Then,
Platte.
like, if
You
I saw
like malls,
that, if I saw like Boston Market, like if I saw a Boston Market, if I passed a Boston Market and I was hungry, I would go and I would eat there immediately.
Oh,
Because I'm like, I don't know the next time I'm going to see a Boston
Yeah.
God,
Market.
check out the map on that. I mean,
we're not doing Boston markets anymore.
I don't know that there are there any? I mean,
There's got to be a couple. There's no way that it's fully extinct.
Well, there's Duncanville, Texas, Philadelphia, Brooklyn, New Jersey, Newark.
holy smokes.
no, there are
Hey,
5
hey,
Boston Markets.
I got one for you, Josh. Look up the map of Tony Roma's.
Oh,
So Tony Roma's is nuts. I looked this up one time because there's a Tony Roma's in Dubuque, connected to the Grand Harbor Resort.
Is this a pizza place?
It's like an I think it's an Italian
I would assume it's Italian.
ribs, right?
ribs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
like-
Italian
but
ribs.
it used to be all over the country.
There used
Tony-
to be
you-
one at 132nd.
Yes.
And
It was
Center.
like CGI Fridays.
Yeah.
Like it was all over the place. Just
Nice.
Tony Roma's.
There are 6 locations
Name all the
for
cities.
Tony Roma's: Kimball, Tennessee; Durham, North Carolina; Great Falls, Montana; Dubuque, Iowa; Carson, California; and Anaheim, California, near Disneyland.
How great is that?
That's awesome.
That
pretty good.
Now that's a
Hey,
map.
talk about spreading your wings. Tony Roma's is like the Big Ten of chains. They're a coast to coast
I remember
fast food chain.
the decline of Tony Roma's happened at the uptick of Tony Romo,
Yeah,
and people would be like, "Oh, you want to go to Tony Romo's rib joint?"
that's right. Yeah. And then he dropped that snap that one time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Here's Rob Schlotsky's all day. Now, there is a Schlotsky's in Lincoln. I believe we lost our Schlotsky's here in Omaha.
Is Schlotsky's a
Oh.
Polish place?
It's
No,
a
it's a
sandwich
it's a
place.
deli.
Oh, okay.
It's a
Schlotsky's-
Schlotsky's Deli.
It could be a Polish
and-
deli.
Schlotsky's turned into a T-Mobile on Saddle Creek.
That's so sad.
Connor, 129th and Center, Schlotsky's.
oh yeah. Oh,
Still there.
Oh, okay. We lost the one on Saddle Creek, not probably several years back now. And I know that there is one in Lincoln. I guess there is.
Yeah, it's
still one
on
in
North 27th.
I
Yes.
played with a couple of guys with the last name Schlotsky.
That
you know?
tracks, yeah.
Mike
Were they part of the
Schlotsky,
Empire?
John Schlotsky.
Chicago hockey player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Called him Schlotz.
YouTube comment, are Carlos O'Kelly's still around? Man, we had that Carlos O'Kelly's that turned into a Raisin Cane's 132nd Maple.
Your breakdowns of what turned into what and where everything was is crazy.
I'm waiting for
I
someone to
could,
turn.
find out
I
about
could
the,
never do this in my hometown. I could never sit there and be like,
That
yeah,
used to be
we,
that, yep.
we had that Panda, and then it turned into a corner bakery, and then all of a
So
sudden,
you
like
could
Sprint
never,
came in
you
there.
don't know all the changes in Skokie?
And not to the level of where he's just being like,
This is Omaha history that we're talking about.
There are 8
Crazy.
Carlos O'Kelly's locations: Marion, Cedar Rapids, Cedar Falls, 3 in Wichita, 1 in Hutchinson. Let me tell you.
Damn, you about to hit that up.
I'll tell you where the worst Carlos O'Kelly's in America is. It's there. And Grand Island.
Oh, nice. GI.
GI.
We used to have 132nd Maple, and
Lincoln used to have one too.
it was the hub of all of
Yeah.
humanity. I mean, it was great.
Didn't
Carlos
Sip
O'Kelly's.
used to like Carlos O'Kelly's?
He loved Carlos
Yeah.
O'Kelly's. He actually loved every Mexican restaurant that was in that one spot on South 20.
Was it like a
Street.
was it like a rotating?
Well,
like it would always be a different.
Chevy's, and then they called it like Mexi's or like something like that. Like he liked every place that was there.
Sip not being married to the restaurant,
was-
but
it
being
was
married to
Chevy's?
the spot
To the location.
is so sick.
Damn, what
He's
was the name of the
like,
one
I
that
don't-
followed Chevy?
I don't know. I don't
'Cause
remember.
I remember it.
He's like, Sip is like, I don't care if it's Chinese, I don't care if it's Mexican, I don't care if it's, I'm there.
But it was
It's
always,
located there. I love the
Now
building.
it's a Le Cordier bakery. It's not even a
Oh.
Mexican place.
Oh well,
anymore.
that's sad.
They
that's-
turned it into half of it as a bank and the other half of it is the Le Cordier.
There's no way Sipple
half
likes that.
bank, half bakery.
half bank, half bake.
That's
yeah.
crazy.
Is that the bank Sipple is always at?
Maybe. Should I ask him about, hey, you like that Le Cordier bakery over there?
John writes in, if I see a Carlos O'Kelly's, I'm stopping. Well, I've been waiting for somebody, still. So Josh, this is in you and I's territory here. So speaking of that, Carlos O'Kelly's on 132nd Maple, which is now Raising Cane's, by the way, historic. Nobody still, it's been more than a decade now,
I know where you're
has
going.
taken over the famous Dave's at 132nd. It just sits there and it grows weeds.
Great location.
The
What
trees
the hell?
are growing over the famous Dave's.
Yeah.
And it's just an empty famous Dave's looking building that has been sitting there for at least a decade now,
I
right?
would say so, yeah.
So this is where, because I came up.
132nd Maple.
That's
no.
where the Giordano's should go.
I don't know what is a famous Dave's.
Oh, it's
Fast
barbecue.
casual
Wow.
barbecue.
It's barbecue. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, interesting.
That's
I didn't have barbecue, like fast casual barbecue growing up.
You didn't have chains, it sounds like.
We had very national chains like Panda Express, Corner Bakery, Red Robin, Buffalo Wild Wings, Jersey Mike's, Subways, Noodles,
Chipotle.
Yeah, we had all the Raising Cane's when it came through, and then we had all the like Chicago stuff that everybody knows. Portillo's, Giordano's,
42 ounce
Lou's.
beefs right in your area.
Yeah, like we actually did. I grew up right next to an ounce
So
beef.
Omaha, I don't know if you knew this. Omaha,
So a lot of these places like Carlos O'Kelly's and like I've never heard of this.
Omaha is a great test market to try out chains, and
If you fail in Omaha, you're failing anywhere.
exactly because we love them.
We
love the chains.
That and I think that's totally true because do you know how many different types of restaurants are here and like
Yeah.
different types of cuisines? that
That's
just
not to
thrive?
say local restaurants,
It's
if you fail in
insane.
Omaha, it's really hard.
I'm so impressed with the fact that there are so many different Italian places,
Oh, yeah.
at Japanese places, Mexican places, even Vietnamese places that like just straight up seafood
Omaha's a
places.
great food city.
It's an incredible food city.
Cody writes in, tell Matt about the old Chicago at 132nd.
Oh man, I missed that one.
What do they serve at an old Chicago?
You don't know what happened at Old Chicago?
Okay, this is
We
fascinating.
didn't have to go.
Yeah,
Old,
yeah.
old Chicago was Martino's. Old Chicago was
Wait,
Joe's
so
Pizza.
you didn't know about Old Chicago when you went to school in Lincoln for 4 years?
No.
So that had turned into the downtown one went away.
Whoa.
There
And
was
so
an
that's now a JJ Hooligans.
Yeah.
You lived in the post Old Chicago downtown time.
Yeah, I was in the Haymarket. It was JJ Hooligans the entire time.
Holy crap.
And
Yeah,
the little-
so
and
the
the
only
old-
old Chicago is in South Lincoln by the mall.
Yeah, so you really don't know about Old Chicago.
No, the old JJ Hooligans that went like down in the
the
basement,
basement.
Yeah.
that turned into a Batman themed bar.
Oh.
It was called Gotham.
What the
And then
hell?
then those owners got bought out and it became Misfits, and now that's a super popular college bar. But I
It's-
went to it when it was a
It's
Batman
always been a
themed
relatively
bar, obviously.
popular place for people to go drink and have it smell like pee.
Yes,
That's basically what that
and
bars
it was
were.
Batman themed, and it was great.
It's been many different things. People always frequent it. It always smells like pee.
Good one from Pedro. Hi guys, Garden Cafe was the place to
Oh,
go
yeah.
on Sunday morning. Potato skillets.
You
Oh,
didn't.
no,
What
Garden
is Old
Cafe.
Chicago? Is it just tavern style pizza and deep dish pizza and some like beef?
It's just
Yeah.
They didn't do
Okay.
deep dish.
it's like a bar.
No.
It's like a bar. It's just
It's
a
just
bar
a
and
pizza
grill.
chain restaurant.
Nice.
Basically.
And
I would like
if you enjoyed Old Chicago, I believe next week there will be one of the chefs from Old Chicago downtown who started it is going to have that menu.
Oh,
The
here in
old
town.
Chicago menu.
Yes.
wasn't that? Didn't they have?
Where is this going to be?
He owns a restaurant called the Block Culinarium.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah.
every month they change their menu, and he's like, "Yeah, I used to be the chef at Old Chicago when it started in Omaha."
So they're just
so I'm gonna do that for a month.
okay. That's kind of
I'm in.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Are we have them on the show?
Can we go to Old Chicago? It's
I want this.
Didn't they have a beer passport?
Yeah, so that's what I was going to
Yeah,
tell you,
Old
Matt.
Chi-
is-
so Gary did it. Gary
Yeah.
talked about it all the time, and I think Gary claimed that he did it quicker than anybody else did, or something
that
like
sounds
that.
like
it's
you know.
possible. So, like, what you would do is you would go there. They would limit you to you could have as many beers as you wanted to buy, but
Yeah.
only 4 of your beers could count towards the total.
Yeah,
You had like a list that
the
you
wall
would
of foam, baby.
yeah, you would drink from, and you had to get to 110 to go up on the wall of foam. And this was one of my big accomplishments in the year of 2011. I went up on the wall of foam in a restaurant that no longer exists in that location.
yeah.
But so I would do these mini tours, and every like 6 weeks they'd have a different mini tour, and it'd be themed for like the summer, or they had like an Irish one that would be all Irish beers, or an October one that would be all like winter or fall beers, like pumpkin beers and Oktoberfest. And you would get t-shirts. And at one point in time, I probably had like 25 different old Chicago t-shirts.
Nice.
And there was like a day where I was cleaning out my closet and I was looking at this. It's like, you have too many clothes, and at least like 1/3 of your total shirts are old Chicago shirts that you're never wearing for anything that isn't going to the gym or like mowing your lawn.
They were like the modern day Old Navy shirts.
Yeah.
That would have the American flag.
They
on
were
them.
like extra. They were wide. They ran wide. So like as a fat guy, it was kind of great. So I could get an XL and I'd feel like, oh, I'm still rocking an XL because it's a wide shirt.
The equivalent of that now for kids who go to Nebraska is Brothers Bar and Grill. Like every Thursday, they have a different style of shirt that they like.
Oh,
you
yeah.
have to pay $10 for.
Brothers was
I used
always
to go to Brothers to get wings.
pretty popular.
Oh
Wings
yeah,
on Wednesdays.
Wednesday
They
wings
cost
was,
like 4 cents.
it was 25 cents when I
I remember watching the Creighton, Oklahoma game in 2015 there, and I was like outside my mind because Isaiah Zierden was just ripping threes against Oklahoma. I was like, this team is, I think they're bad, but for one night, they're good. That was the year after Doug.
Were you a part of the mug club?
No. I was never in any clubs.
I was a part of the mug club where you would bring your mug to Brothers and you would get $2 doubles.
You
on it.
definitely seem like the kind of guy that joins any mug club or
Oh,
any kind of
100%,
club.
yeah.
You really
I want to
do.
I want to take advantage of a deal.
You know how you were sitting here the other day and you're like, I have too many subscriptions.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what
Sean-
it seems like people would prey on you to be part of the mug club or the whatever else.
Sean texts in, Matt would love old Chicago $500 for a $10 shirt.
Sounds like a great deal.
100%.
Sounds like an awesome deal. That's my thing. Like I had that same moment, not 25 shirts, but I was going through. I told you when I moved, I was going through all my shirts. I got rid of 9 Brothers Bar and Grill shirts. I was like, it's time to move.
One
It's time
is
to move
probably
on.
too many.
I kept one, which was the NASA one. They had a NASA themed one.
Would you still go back to Brothers now?
I went back to Brothers a couple months ago.
There'll be. I'm telling you, there will be an age where you will draw this like line, and you would never go back to Brothers.
Yeah, I
Other bars
honestly
over there, sure, but for some reason, that's one where it's like once you're 28, the idea of being in Brothers seems absolutely thoroughly
there's two. Number one, I didn't want to go back there when I went back there that time because my buddy still loves going there because he knows everybody there. So if it were up to
You're
me,
also
I wouldn't
24.
have.
You're in the peak. Brothers.
Number two is if I ever have to pay a cover at Brothers again, I will not go back. Like the minute
I think I've paid my last cover in my life.
Yeah, I don't intend to pay
Wow.
covers.
What a statement! You don't think you'll ever pay a cover ever again?
Yeah, I feel good about that. I'm not paying any more covers.
You don't
ever.
think at
I
any
guess if,
point
like-
you might go to you might be at a wedding and your friends are like, "Hey, let's go to this late night band thing," and they charge you a cover there. You don't think that would
I
ever
doubt it.
happen?
They wouldn't charge
I
it.
don't think that would happen, and it's possible. It's possible that I could get wrangled into a situation,
I think
but
there would.
I'm going to say unlikely.
I think there would be a situation where you would be at a wedding and your friends would be
The
like, "Hey, let's
only
go to
cover
this
I could see
underground
myself
concert."
paying.
I could see him never paying a cover.
No, the only
Whoa.
cover I could see myself paying is if somebody I know is in a band and they're somewhere where they're playing and you have to pay a cover to go see it.
But even then, they just put you on a list.
They could.
Yeah, but you'd rather pay the cover, support the band.
My fear with that though is I don't want to commit myself to having to see them. So I wouldn't want to be like, put me on the list and then I have to go. Because if you don't show up, like what kind of a jerk store move is that?
That's a good point.
Got a tweet here from Chris.
Hi, Chris.
Speaking of closed buildings still standing, what's the over-under on the amount of people that think Fuddruckers is still an active restaurant on 72nd and Dodge? Been closed for decades, but the sign is still up. And okay, so the building
Definitely
is
not
gone.
decades.
The building is gone.
Yeah.
It is now a mega saver.
Uh-huh.
So I think we're good. But up until that very moment where they knocked out the sign, which was a decade at least after it closed, yes.
I mean,
there
Connor
were
pulled the
people-
handle.
There were people going up to Fuddruckers trying to get burgers.
What's a Fuddrucker?
It was like a burger.
Thank you for being careful.
Fast casual burger.
So
Very
this
welcome.
happened when I met to take this job. The boss said, "Let's go to Fuddruckers," and I thought for
Multiple
sure it was
people have
closed.
had important meetings at Fuddruckers from this station.
I said almost for sure that place is closed, but sure, I'll meet you at Fuddruckers. And so we met at Fuddruckers and we pulled on the door and it said, "We're closed." And it had been closed for several years at that point. So we went to Chipotle,
No, you went to Chipotle.
which is right there. Yeah, it's
That's
right
incredible.
there, 72nd Dodge. Now there's a library.
Worst parking lot in America.
Yeah, really. There's a lot of bad stuff.
Wait, is where the library is now? Is that where the fun?
What did
records
you
are?
want to
Across the
say about
street,
the
yep.
library?
Across
I'm
the
not going to
street.
say anything about the public library.
It's a beautiful
He's
library.
going to
It's
say
a-
something about how lib it is, probably.
No, I'm Matt McLib, most progressive show. At
Why
1620
are
Zone.
you ascribing political terms to a library?
I'm not ascribing anything to anything.
What did the
Henceforth,
library
why
do
I
to
didn't
you?
say a word. I didn't say a word.
Well, it was predicted what you were going to say.
I
apparently.
didn't say a word.
Having been in that library many times now, I would like to see more books in that library, but
No,
that's another issue.
no. Libraries aren't books anymore.
Just seems like a very
No, that's not true.
inconvenient
I was in a
place.
library yesterday. Plenty of books.
Libraries are air. Like, they're like, you want a book? We have air for you. They're like, here's a code. Type it into your computer. There's your book.
Read it on your
I
tablet.
tried checking out one book from that place, and there were 6 different people who had a hold on it. I was like, "This is ridiculous."
Yeah, you got to wait in line for books.
No, not for the last.
Stop picking
Ronin.
popular books.
Oh, yeah. I have The Last Ronin. I'll let you read it.
Can you bring it? I just
Yes.
need to finish it. I've been thinking about it too much. I read half of it at a Barnes and Noble and put it back in the shelf
How long were you at the Barnes and Noble?
for about an hour and a half.
You just sitting in the chair, like it's very
So they
comfortable.
don't got books in there? What's going on in there then?
One floor is a computer lab. One floor is like study.
Isn't there like a
carrels.
conference center
Yeah,
or
the
something in there?
conference
Yeah.
centers. And then there's like
They have activities?
one floor is kids' books, and then like one half of one floor is adult books, and the other half is a coffee
Do
shop.
they have like a CD section just as a throwback?
I believe you can get CDs there.
That'd be
yes.
dope. I remember I used to love the CD section in the
I
library.
was like, really? There's only like 6 racks of books in this 4-story library? Okay.
Interesting.
all right, that was fun. Great
All right.
crossover. I feel like we could do that again whenever. Just you going through all of the fast food places and
yeah.
when they were, where they were located, when they stopped being located
It
there.
actually is.
and
a
what they
fun
turned
game.
into.
Like, you just gave me a place and I could go through its entire lineage of what it was. You know,
we
throughout
should
its time.
we should play a game where we give you and like a building, a street, and an address, and you're supposed to be like, what was there, and then you guess what it originally was and what it might have turned into. So we go, hey, 183rd and Center, and it would have been in this area
answer is-
located next to
the
this.
answer to that is cornfields.
I was just throwing out numbers and
the corollary to
streets.
that would be if we gave him a list of things that he needed to be able to find in a 1-block radius, he has to find the area in Omaha that encompasses all of this.
Oh, I can get you there.
That'd be funny. All right, that's crossover. Middays Matt coming up next year on the 1620 Zone Radio Network.
I need your help. I can't tell you what it is. You can never ask me about it later, and we're gonna hurt some people. Whose car are we gonna take?
I have a lot of things I want to get off my chest.
That's an absolutely horse crap call. Make room for Daddy. But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
Chicago is.
This is Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Middays with Matt live and rolling on the 1620 The Zone Radio Network, 1620 AM here in the Big O, 97.7 The Zone in Central Nebraska. Matt McMaster, as always, joined by Josh Odson. J.O., how are you?
Doing okay. Just came across the wire that actor Tim Curry has passed away at the age of 80, so I'm reliving his acting resume, of which is quite hefty. But other than that, I'm fine. I'm fine.
What would I know him in?
What would you know Tim Curry from? Ooh, that is a tough putt.
When you put it like that, all right, you're probably right.
What would you know Tim Curry from?
He did the
Professor Calamitous from SpongeBob SquarePants.
I didn't watch SpongeBob SquarePants.
Okay.
I was not a SpongeBob SquarePants man. Does that surprise you, by the way?
A little bit, yeah.
I wasn't
been
into that
upset.
dumb stuff. I was watching Kornheiser and Wilbon yell at each other.
Right.
I wasn't watching
When you put it like
SpongeBob.
that, it does make more sense.
I was more concerned about
Yeah.
Tony Reale, and whether or not he was going to give Tim Calishaw his right amount of points, as opposed to whether or not Barnacle Boy was going to save the Bikini Bottom.
All right. That
Okay.
Actually, the more you say it, the more that absolutely.
I was
yeah.
watching more Dan Lebitard than I was SpongeBob.
Wow, there is a lot of animated programming on this resume. I wish they would take all of that out.
He did the concept album for the Little Tramp, but isn't there the Lady and the Tramp? Isn't that
There is a Lady and the Tramp.
That's
Disney
the
movie.
dog movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's stupid.
Yeah. Home Alone 2.
Oh, okay.
He was the manager of the hotel.
Stolen credit card. Middays Matt here on the 1620 Zone Radio Network. We have a good one for you today. Have some takes, have some quotes, have some information on LSU. Why do they keep doing this to themselves? They just, I cannot believe that institution, the presidents, the athletic director, the governor, who has a massive say in what they do there, is totally okay with their sports, not just sports completely trampling over the NCAA, completely undermining what the core of college sports is. And then we even have a Kim Mulkey story. Did you see this? Did you hear about this? What has happened with Kim Mulkey and a certain player? It sounds like an SNL skit.
Forgive me if I don't have the details right.
No,
on
go
this.
ahead, please. Take your best shot at this. This is great.
Kim Mulkey signed a Ukrainian basketball player.
Yes.
The Ukrainian basketball player left the team after a Russian basketball player was signed to the LSU women's basketball team.
Uh-huh.
Do I have that correct?
That's exactly what happened. We will reveal later what Kim Mulkey's pitch to the Ukrainian basketball player was to potentially stay with the team. Once again, it's out of an SNL skit.
Whoa.
You guys could be ambassadors. We'll talk about that later. Yep.
Incredible.
Yep. By the way, this Ukrainian basketball player had to flee her country because of the war. Okay. The basketball gym she grew up playing in was destroyed because of the war. And then all of this has happened. So we'll talk about that. It's just a simple question. Why does LSU keep doing it? Why are they okay doing this? Like, nobody else is doing it to the level that they're doing. And they're completely unapologetic at this point. Will Wade is. Kim Mulkey's just Kim Mulkey at this point. And then Lane Kiffin, of all places, by the way, I did not watch his interview with Pat McAfee, but of course, Pat McAfee would give him the runway to go ahead and defend his actions, which there was a very damning report in a CBS Sports article that I don't know, man. Like, it seems like there have been institutions that have gotten away with way worse than what reportedly Lane Kiffin has been doing in regards to trying to get NFL players to sign. There are former college players who signed with NFL teams to come back to college. So we will discuss that. John Walker will join us at 11 o'clock. John and I will probably have a discussion about Creighton men's basketball. We'll talk a little bit about Fred King. We'll talk a little bit about the roster. Oswin Arunse, reportedly, he got banged up in practice. Is there any update on that? How does the current developments of what's happened, right? To explain this very briefly, right? You had the class action lawsuit in Colorado. That was kind of a blanket ruling that gave everybody the opportunity in the class of 2022 to come back and use that extra year of eligibility that they weren't granted by being grandfathered in by the NCAA. That was put on hold. And so now you have athletes that there's not a blanket decision that allows the 2022 athletes to come back, but each and every single one of them, who are coming back have their own injunction in separate states. And so we'll get an update on how does the class action lawsuit, Wisney versus the NCAA in Colorado being put on a hold, put on a stay, more accurately, how does that affect Fred King and Brody Robinson, two players at Creighton have that they've added? Robinson coming from Oakland, obviously King coming from Murray State. So we'll talk about that with John Walker, but we'll mainly have a conversation about the NCAA because I know J-Dub very studied up on everything that is going on in terms of these NCAA rulings and the proceedings and everything that's happened before and after and precedents that have been set. I have a question/suggestion to Walker, if you will, that I'm interested to see what his opinion is on that. So we'll have a discussion about that. Fun day in baseball yesterday. The Big Dumper hit another homer. The Boston Red Sox did something that hasn't happened in 112 years.
Whoa.
And the Chicago Cubs got walked off in Arizona.
I had to learn that from your tweet. I was like, bottom of the ninth. I don't need to hurry over to the app and
we'll talk about
watch that.
It was one of the more
frustrating.
It was one of the more frustrating defeats I've seen the Cubs take in quite a while. It was a tough one. We'll also have some major NFL training camp updates. We'll put the music behind this one. Quarterback updates is what the theme of this training camp is.
I got some questions.
Holy crud. It just seemed like all at once, out of nowhere, we started getting QB update after QB update after QB update in terms of all of the crazy things that have been happening. There are quarterbacks who you thought that would be backups that might get cut. There are quarterbacks who there's a quarterback. I'm not going to reveal who he is yet because we'll talk about it later in the show. Josh, there was a quarterback who lost a one-man race. There is a quarterback in the National Football League that came in second in a one-person race. We will talk about that quarterback and the team that they formerly came from, which is I'm pretty sure they're paying more money in dead cap space than active cap space. We'll talk about that team and all the other QB updates and whether or not the Philadelphia Eagles are going to have to revert back to just running the football over and over and over and over and over again, playing an incredibly, I don't want to say passive style of football because you can be aggressive in the run game, but apparently Jalen Hurts isn't playing that well. And who would have thought that getting rid of his number one wide receiver, one of the top 10 best wide receivers in the NFL, would cause his passing efficiency to go down? Who could have seen that coming, right? Now, to be fair, he barely used him toward the end of the year anyway. But all that to say, we'll talk about some QB updates across training camp. Also, too, for your fantasy football players, if you are a high pick in the first round, you are not liking some of the news that has been coming out recently. Yesterday, Jamar Chase hyperextended his knee. He said in his kind of a post-practice scrum that if there were a game the next day, he would play. So it seems like he's fine, but he did just get a little bit banged up on the deep ball that he collided with the cornerback with. But Puka Nacua still, he currently has an injury. He has not practiced in the last 2 weeks. Ashton Genty, he seems like what we thought was going to be a long-term injury for Genty is going to be more of a short-term, but still he's been banged up, and then all of a sudden, of course, you have the what did we the substation, right? That's what it's called, right?
Correct,
People
yeah.
call it 37 different things, I feel like, when I listen to the Bill Simmons podcast. CMC, who knows if he's going to stay healthy? What a fascinating fantasy
I've
football
got
player
a hunch,
this year.
given CMC's career, whether or not he'll stay healthy.
So are you the person who you would not draft him in fantasy football no matter what? I think the range on that guy in fantasy is incredible. He will either be running back, like not be ranked in the top 24 as a running back, or he will be running back 1. It literally depends on whether or not he stays healthy.
Depends on what position I'm in the draft, and
Fair enough.
what else is on the board.
Husker West goes, Jalen Hurts is overrated. I'm just saying, like, I'm somebody who's been more pro Jalen Hurts than others, I would say, in terms of the quality of quarterback I think him to be. But at the same time, he got into the fight with A.J. Brown. They could not let bygones be bygones. His attitude and Brown's attitude last year is part of the reason there was so much turmoil within that locker room, which definitely caused them to not achieve up to what their talent level was last season. And additionally, yeah, he was part of the reason they got rid of their best wide receiver on the team. And I like Smitty. I like Devonta Smith. I think that he's, more than capable of being a number 1 wideout. But yeah, when you don't have A.J. Brown, who is a fast, big, aggressive target, especially downfield outside of the numbers, you're going to be less efficient, especially when you're trying to push the ball down the field. So, I mean, this whole conversation about him not having a good training camp right now, which I remember back in 2019, Patrick Mahomes threw all those interceptions and everybody flipped out about it. And then he ended up winning an MVP. So I try not to buy too much into it. But yeah, I sit there and I read that the guy's thrown 16 interceptions over 13 practices. And I'm like, yeah, I bet he's trying to force the ball down the field. And who is Philadelphia's viable, out wide threat right now? It's got A.J. Brown. So it's an interesting update, and we got a couple of other quarterback updates that we have to talk about. The Athletic released an article the other day too, talking about who's your rival, right? They do this, I think they do it annually, where they go through each team and they say, okay, this is your rival, and they break down the rivalries. And we'll read Nebraska's who's your rival, because I don't think it's anything that Nebraska fans need to be are being told for the first time, but it definitely is kind of a, I don't want to call it a wake-up call as much as it is a reflection in terms of, man, you got to worry about yourself before you start worrying about other teams and who's your rival and all that sort of stuff. And it's a little sad, some of the things that they wrote about Nebraska, and we can talk about that and reflect on that a little bit later in the show. We'll also discuss about Jamal Rule. Listen to the press conferences yesterday. Marcus Satterfield spoke. Glenn Thomas spoke. E.J. Barthel spoke. Not a whole lot, in my opinion, to deduce from those assistant coaches' words. I will say that Barthel's confidence at the podium and the way that he talks and, the things that he talks about definitely has changed from now until when he first got here. And I think that the development of, Emmett Johnson definitely has grown some confidence within him in terms of the lessons that he's teaching and the things that he's preaching are working and producing NFL running backs. And I think that was kind of shown in how he was presented yesterday and the things that he talked about yesterday. He's always been a very personable guy on the podium, but yesterday I was really impressed. I was just really impressed with just kind of his confidence about things and his confidence in his room and the things that he was talking about. Granted, they got to go ahead and, they got to produce. And he doubled down yesterday talking about it's the most talented room that he's had since he's been at Nebraska. And, I think it's a compelling point in terms of, yeah, they have a lot of versatility there. They have some good athletes in there. They have really good builds. He talked about how, Isaiah Mosey is 215 pounds now and he can line up in the slot, right? But I think at the end of the day, when you have an all-American running back in your room, even if you have a lot of depth behind it, which they currently, they have a lot of options. Even if you have a lot of options, I still think it's kind of hard to go above the caliber of an all-American running back like they had last year. But at the same time, I think they're counting on, I don't know if they're counting on any of those guys to turn into an All-American, but I definitely think that they're counting on one of those guys to emerge as the dude and then, do some pretty creative things with the rest of the backs that they have in that room. So I was impressed with Barthel yesterday, but we had a pretty awesome, pretty cool trails of multiple sound bites from Jamal Rule yesterday about a hobby that he picked up. The man loves to bowl. And let me tell you something right now. I want somebody to love me as much as Jamal Rule loves to bowl. We will play those clips later in the show. That man, he just wants to play football and he just wants to bowl. And I could not admire it any better. We have a new award to give out. The award that we're going to give out today is See You at the ESPYs in a Year award.
Oh, okay.
Okay, we're going to be giving that out today. We'll give that out before after the 12 o'clock hour. The See You at the ESPYs in a Year award. It's going to be given out to someone who's playing in the Little League World Series, who is actually playing in the Little League World Series today. So we'll talk about that person later in the show. It's a Wacky Guest Wednesday here on Middays with Matt at 1 o'clock. We will talk to our wacky guest of the week. At 11, we will be joined by John Walker. And it's a very busy show. I said that during the rundown today. We'll be doing another edition of Buy, Sell, Hold, or Bet. Today on the docket, we have Iowa, the Hawkeyes, and we also have the Tennessee Volunteers, the team that Nebraska football was supposed to be playing this year in the non-con slate. People do forget that Nebraska was supposed to play Tennessee this season in week 2. What would Nebraska's win total be if they had to play Tennessee this year? Probably firmly 5.5, right?
Yeah, I think it'd be one less.
It'd probably be one less. I mean, they would be not favored in that game, which I think that would, God, the content. Oh, the amount of segments we would have had saying, what does it say about Matt Rule that the over-under win total for Nebraska football was 5.5 heading into this season? And then there probably would have been people who said, well, if they had Indiana's schedule, it'd be 6.5. So it's all relative. So that's a conversation and debate I'm glad we're not having. I'm just, what? Now, I'm not glad that they're not playing Tennessee. Would have much rather play Tennessee instead of Bowling Green. But is what it is. We'll talk about the Volunteers today. What is their outlook for this season after missing the college football playoff last year, but making it 2 years ago? Does Josh Heupel's squad have what it takes to make it back to the CFP this year? We'll also talk to Elliot Clough of Hawkeyes Insider of 24/7 Sports. We'll talk to Elliot about the Hawkeyes, everything that they lost this season. 7 NFL draft picks from the Hawkeyes from last year's team to the NFL. But how have they recovered from that? What are the strengths of the team? And will they be able to take the next step after winning 8 games last season? They were very quietly on the doorstep of making the college football playoff last season. 4 losses against 4 very high-quality opponents by a total of 15 points. Oregon, Indiana, Iowa State, and USC, all of those teams at one point during the season were ranked. So we will talk to Mr. Clough about the Hawkeyes, along with our wacky guest at 1, and John Walker coming up next here on the 1620 The Zone Radio Network. I like to think that I've read a lot about NCAA injunctions and temporary restraining orders and lawyers and judges and appellate courts and all the things in between. But the man that we're talking to next probably has read more than me and everybody else listening to this station, because he's been all over it and has been giving us great updates on what everything, the madness going on in the NCAA means for the Creighton men's basketball team and just Creighton athletics in general. We bring on John Walker, the Omaha World Herald. J-Dub, are you done reading about legislation?
No, of course not. Of course not. I should like pursue an honorary law degree from somewhere. Not that I'd ever actually do anything with it, but like just to have it, and more so a badge of pride for dealing with this whole mess, man. So no, I'm not done reading it about law, legal stuff. I don't think I'll be done for the foreseeable future.
No, neither do I. I don't think you'll be done. I don't think I'll be done. I don't think any of us will be done anytime soon. Let me ask you this, like, before we get into the nitty gritty of what this might mean for Creighton and all that type of stuff, like, we're all in agreement. Yeah, LSU sucks. And it's annoying that it's just always the same kind of institution doing these things over again. But this falls a lot on the NCAA shoulders, too, for not just ironing this out and just making this decision earlier and grandfathering all these athletes in. We're all in agreement that the root of this problem is once again the NCAA.
Oh, yeah, definitely. If you do not give teams or schools the flexibility to bend the rules, then guess what? They won't bend the rules.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it really is just that simple. Like, teams do that anyways, like, of course. But the NCAA really was just kind of like, all right, yeah, like, this is going to be what it's going to be, even though we knew what it was going to be. So now we kind of have the mess we have now.
I look back on what Troy Dannon said a couple of days ago, and he, said he was a big of the Husker on the Husker Sports Radio Network. He said he's a big supporter of the NCAA and he tries to be a champion in the NCAA, but this has just become such a mess that he even talked to somebody about maybe they should just go back to the old rules. I mean, do you think that's even an option at this point, or something that at this point just should have been, they shouldn't have even changed it if this was the mess it was going to create?
No, I don't think it's an option at this point, unfortunately. I think the best move at this juncture is to, and this is not innovative on my end whatsoever. Like, I've talked to so many people in college athletics, and so many people have said that a lot of the problems would be fixed with a one-time transfer rule. And anything after that, you have to sit a season.
Yeah.
So that would be really interesting. Like, I've talked to a few coaches in college basketball, and like that is the consensus among the people I've talked to. Like, something has to be done. What is that? I've often heard the one-time transfer rule, because then you don't get a kid who's like, I'm going to bounce here, then I'm going to bounce here, then I'm going to bounce here, then I'm going to bounce here, and they're at 5 schools in 5 years, and it's like, okay, that's fine. Like, some people have reason to do that. Others don't, as we know. But it's like, that's insanity. No?
Yeah.
Like,
no, without a doubt.
Nuts.
It is.
That's nuts. And yeah, so like, maybe, is that a one-time transfer rule? I don't know. That would calm down a lot of the I don't even know what you want to call it, mess. It would kind of help mitigate the mess that the transfer portal has become, that college athletics have become. But there would definitely still be problems. So I think we've just like kind of opened Pandora's box and held it open for a tad too long. Because where do we go from here?
Yeah.
It's like, all right, now do the former professionals try to sue the Big Ten? Do they try to sue the SEC? What happens from that?
Yeah.
Are they even eligible, even though they shouldn't be? Like, who knows? But yeah, it's just a mess.
Well, I don't understand. Like Dan Wetzel was on SportsCenter yesterday, and he was asked, like, "Hey, the SEC and the Big Ten make these rules, but are there just going to be TROs or injunctions against that?" And he goes, "Yeah, probably. There's just going to be more lawsuits, you know." And at this point, they've just created a Charlotte's Web of more litigation and more injunctions and just more confusion. Which I guess if you are somebody who is in support of the Save College Sports Act, you're watching all of this and saying, hey, this is probably a big push, right? Maybe the final push that we need to say, hey, Congress, look at all this BS that's going on. Let's get this thing over the finish line and let's pass this, law essentially in order to get some order within collegiate athletics. But yeah,
might I propose something?
Go ahead, propose it.
What if, not wanting to get its own hands dirty, the NCAA let all of this unravel, hoping that the blood would be on Congress's hands?
Yeah, without a doubt. But the one thing I always come back to, John, the one thing I always come back to is that we are going to pass the Save College Sports Act, and it's going to give the power right back to the people who screwed this thing up anyway.
Yeah, and that's the issue. Like, that's the issue. So we'll see.
What locally, can you give us any updates in terms of Brody Robinson's case, Fred King's case, their injunctions, their lawsuits at this point? I mean, are they still practicing with the team? There was a Ross Dellinger article that was released today talking about how there were multiple athletes who were in exhibitions and scrimmages and playing with their teams just to be told, hey, you're not eligible. And, it was quite a tough article to read, honestly. What's that situation, and are these guys practicing and with the team as if they're for sure going to play in the regular season?
Yeah. As far as I know, like, Creighton's 2 fifth-year transfers are relatively unaffected by everything going on over the past 24, 48 hours. And that's largely because, Matt, neither Fred King or Brody Robinson signed a professional contract. Fred did with an international club. I wrote about that when he recommitted to Creighton a few weeks ago. So I don't know if that complicates things for him, but like, he obviously never even made it overseas. And so, like, he is, of course, no longer signed with that club, hasn't been since late July. And so it's like, all right, I think he would probably be fine. I might be wrong. I don't think so, but I think the SEC's graphic or statement, rules, whatever that they put out said, like, if you signed with the NFL, NBA, or WNBA. And so I'm like, all right, that's interesting, because it leaves that, again, it leaves it open for interpretation, where it's like, all right, so can guys who signed international contracts, they can come back? That doesn't matter, at least for now, because, spoiler, Creighton's not in the SEC. Creighton's not in the Big Ten. And so, like, until the Big East does something, which, I don't know, seems inevitable considering how all of the leagues are, Brody Robinson and Fred King remain unaffected, it seems. And they both have their own individual injunctions. Brody in Tennessee, Fred King in Kentucky. And so they were not counting on the blanket eligibility from the Colorado injunction, which is really, that was the big case in all of this. And so, yeah, I think they're fine. All of that to say, like, my impression is that they are fully practicing with the team, and yeah, they are good, because the rules that are keeping kids from transferring into the SEC, into the Big Ten, are not in effect in the Big East yet. And I think, Matt, even if they were, Brody Robinson and Fred King would probably be all right.
Well, it's something to note when you talk about Fred King's, his professional contract overseas. RJ Lewis, who he got his injunction, which, by the way, very strangely has gone under the radar and is probably, in my opinion, more egregious than what's going on with the NFL players. That's just my opinion, though. That in his injunction that he was granted, one of the arguments that his lawyers made was all of these guys who have previously, been in professional leagues in Europe, albeit they were, a lot younger in their teenage years, but they were in these professional leagues and they're allowed to play in college basketball. So it's been a clear precedent has been set that, guys who even have played pro Euro ball have been able to play NCAA basketball. Granted, those guys have been within the NCAA age restrictions, and thereabouts. So
exactly,
it's all a mess. It's all a mess. It's all a mess is what it really is, and it's incredibly frustrating.
I sympathize with the people who argue that, hey, I just graduated and this upcoming season would be my fifth year, because I think the SEC guideline was like anybody who did not withdraw from the draft.
So
I can guarantee you, if I was arguing for a fifth year of eligibility and I met all the other criteria, and say, for example, I played in the summer league, I was with an NFL team during training camp, and then wanted to go back to college, regardless of what we think of it, right? My argument would be, well, I had no reason to ever withdraw from the draft because I didn't think it was possible for me to get additional eligibility. Like, these traditional seniors are auto-enrolled anyways, I believe. And so it's like, all right, they're going to get an injunction. One way or another, they have a solid argument there. I don't sympathize with someone like RJ Lewis, who in this case willingly gave up additional eligibility, knowing at the time he could have withdrawn for the draft and probably should have, but didn't. And so it's like, all right, I sympathize with the guys who are in the first instance, these freshly graduated traditional seniors who are looking for their fifth year, because they have an argument. Regardless of what we think of it, they have an argument. People who stand in similar shoes as RJ Lewis, as talented a basketball player as he is, do not have a logical argument. You forwent your remaining eligibility. If playing college basketball and getting an education was that important, why didn't you do it back then?
It didn't make any sense to me. So you're right. It's a compelling argument, compelling enough to get injunctions that 2022 athletes should get another additional year, because you're right. The SEC says this is their first rule, previously declared for the NFL, NBA, or WNBA draft that did not appropriately withdraw. But why would I withdraw if my eligibility was up? Right? That makes no sense.
Maybe that's where the language in and of itself comes into play, because they said declare. So it's like, all right, maybe this only applies to the guys who forewent remaining eligibility.
But if you don't appropriately withdraw, that means that you're in, right? So it's more than just a declaration.
Yeah. No, definitely. My thing was, the traditional seniors, like, why would they withdraw?
No, they wouldn't. Why? They have no. Why would you? Why would? You're not going anywhere. You're not allowed to play.
Exactly.
What are you withdrawing to?
Like,
it makes
those people have the argument.
Yes.
But that's where I think the language of what the SEC put out comes into play, because they're saying, like, not if you got drafted or whatever. They're saying no. If you declared for the draft, like, that's a really interesting tidbit about this whole thing.
Sure. I just, once again, it's the RJ Lewis and the NFL guys are two completely different conversations. And I'm glad you separated it, because you're right. Lewis only played 3 years. He could have come back after St. John's, after being the Big East Player of the Year. He could have come, and he could have played anywhere, and he decided not to. These other 2022 athletes, they were simply just, all right, they thought they were done, and it's over. But I think what the most interesting part of this all is, there was a CBS Sports article today talking about how reportedly Lane Kiffin was talking to NFL, players in NFL training camps who met the criteria to be a part of these injunctions. He was talking to those players and their representation, encouraging them to sue the NCAA. You have a actively sitting SEC head football coach telling people to sue the NCAA. What do you think there could be any repercussions potentially to LSU as an institution that their head football coach was actively telling people to sue the institution?
I don't. I really don't.
That's crazy.
No, I don't, because that's like, one, where we are in the landscape, and two, that's the door that the NCAA opened. They could have avoided all of the litigation, or at least to the degree that we've now seen it. Because after the Colorado thing essentially got reversed, like, you're going to see a lot more of these state by state localized injunction cases pop up. Like, you're just going to, because again, the class of 2022 high school grads don't have that blanket eligibility from the Colorado case anymore. And so they're all going to go get their own injunctions. And so, no, I don't. Like, this is, again, what the NCAA allowed when it didn't effectively resolve this situation. Because, again, if they wait until January or February to announce that next summer, I guess would be the, July 1 of 27, 5-5 will go into place. It affects all rosters moving forward. Okay, well, then all of these class of 2022 kids don't have that argument, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the class of 2023 kids do. I don't know. Like, maybe we're just going through this a year from now. But it's like, now the class of 2022 kids don't have that argument.
Oh, so you're saying, you're saying that you're saying push the process back instead of starting this super early. Do it in 2020 in December of 26 and say, hey, this is when we're doing it. Yeah, you could have. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, you could have done that too. You could, if you wanted to wait, right? You could have just waited 6 more months.
You could have done that. If you wait until late January or early February to do that, then the second semester has already long started, and you're coming down the final months of the school year. None of that uncertainty is dealt with in the lead up to season starting. And most football roster, I often view this as a very like basketball centric mind, because, well, I cover Creighton basketball more often than not. But think about football rosters. Like, most of them were filled. Obviously, in LSU's case, they have some flexibility and some spots to work with. Most teams were never anticipating players being available in the middle of August. In the middle of August. So yeah. Or, of course, Matt, they could have just said from the jump when they announced this earlier this summer, we're going to grandfather in the class of 22 high school grads, the only class in recent history that did not benefit from the COVID year and will not benefit from the new eligibility rules. We're going to show you guys a little bit of grace, and we're going to grandfather you in. It would have saved everyone so much time, so much money, so much headache. And I think, Matt, this is going to be crazy to say, I think the NCAA might have bought itself a little goodwill with that decision. And instead, here we are in the spiral that's still spinning and has shown no signs that it will come to a rest soon.
Okay, so here's the final question. And maybe this is for more of a legal expert, but you're the guy I know.
Galaxy brains here.
I know, but you're the guy who I know reads about this stuff just as much and even more than I do. I mean, there's no worry though that this will set, so Kiffin goes on Pat McAfee yesterday, and he says, "Look, I'm not necessarily for NFL player, guys signing NFL contracts and coming back to college, but this is about a specific class, right?" And this is about a specific 2022 class, and that 2022 athlete coming back, which, once again, it's not a nothing argument. I don't think they I don't think they have zero validity here. I think they have a pretty compelling argument, which is why they've been given, the injunctions they've been given. But is there any worry, or have you sensed any worry that this will set a precedent even past the class of 2022? That athletes can sign an NFL contract, go back to college after their training camp is over? Or is this just do you think this will turn into a specific 2022 thing. I think there's got to be a caveat that, hey, this is just for 2022 athletes if they actually go through with it.
Yeah, I think it's more so just to this class, because you're not going to get, there are specific instances every year, every summer, every fall, as it pertains to NFL training camp, that a guy will, hey, I have this waiver, whatever. All right, yeah, sure. But no, I don't think this is setting a precedent to consistently have guys go through the draft process and then be like, I'm not going to make the 53. Nah, I'm going to go back another year. Like, I just don't see that happening. I don't think that's what the NFL wants, to be honest with you. I don't think that is what the powers that be of college football want. The SEC and the Big Ten have shown that over the past 48 hours. And so, no, I don't think it's the beginning of a precedent. I certainly hope not. And I don't think it is. But this is just like, everyone's kind of gobsmacked at the moment because of just how big of an avoidable situation this whole thing was.
It's an unforced error. It was an unforced error.
It is. It really was. It really was. Like, they just sailed this. What did do Julio Rodriguez the other night? He thought he caught the third out, turned around, threw it into the stands.
Yeah.
This is like essentially what the NCAA did. They like gave up a little league home run for absolutely no reason other than the fact that they just wanted to stand in center with the ball in their hands.
John Walker, the Omaha World Herald, thanks for this conversation. Appreciate you as always. What a mess. I enjoy talking about it, though, but it's an incredible mess.
Yeah, no, it really is. It really is. Hey, I'm gonna tease a story for this
Go
weekend,
ahead.
if I may.
Please.
Can I steal your airwaves for a
No,
second?
steal it. You deserve it after this convo.
Sunday is 5 years to the day that Marcus Blossom was announced as Creighton's athletic director.
Oh, wow.
What has happened over those past 5 years, Matt?
A lot.
What does Marcus Blossom think that has happened, of everything that's happened over the past 5 years? What does he think that could happen over the next 5 years?
Good God.
I'd probably pick up Sunday's OWH to find out.
Look at that promo. J-Dub. Hey, Cole Cabana, how you doing? Jay Walker of the Omaha World Herald. John Walker of the Omaha World Herald. I combined your nicknames. I went Jay Walk. And,
I'm a Jay. Well,
yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
John Walker, the OWH. I'll talk to you soon, Johnny.
Thanks, Matt. See y'all.
See you, brother. What has happened in the last 5 years under Marcus Blossom at Creighton? Well, new baseball coach, new basketball coach, new volleyball coach, new track and field coach. Am I correct? Am I correct on that? I think there's a new track and field coach, if I'm not mistaken.
Time is a flat circle. I have no idea.
Good point, Josh Johnson. To continue this conversation about
new facilities for softball and baseball, McDermott Center.
We probably should just talk to a lawyer, right? And that was a great I think it was a little unfair for me to ask, hey, John, do you think there will be a precedent set? Which, who knows at this point? That's my number one question. Like, this sucks. This is dumb. This is stupid. But if these NFL players are allowed to play, these guys who sign NFL training camp deals, if they're allowed to play in college football, but there's a very clear and hard line that it's like, hey, it's literally because of the 2022 eligibility, and this can never happen again, and this will never be allowed to happen again, and these are the specific circumstances. Even though it would be a hunk of crap, and even though I would not like it, I could swallow it a little bit easier. If though that these rulings are made and that kind of line in the sand isn't drawn, and it does potentially set a precedent for people to declare for the draft, sign a training camp contract, and then go back to college sports, then what the hell are we doing? Right? Like, then that's once again, we're talking about what would be the end of collegiate athletics. That would make no sense.
Grow a pair, Charlie Baker. Set some rules.
He can't. Which, by the way, Lane Kiffin reportedly literally told players to sue the NCAA. How is that possible? And LSU doesn't get punished in any sort of way.
Look, man, sometimes just
They have no power.
Somebody tells you no, and you say, oh, okay. I get told no here at work all the time. I don't go and sue. Sometimes I just do it anyway and say, oh, I misunderstood our last correspondence. My bad.
The idea, too, of the gall on this guy to go like, well, we didn't do it. Other teams would have done it. Nobody else has done it.
Nobody's done it.
Nobody's done it. Texas signed a guy that did declare for the NFL draft, but he never signed a contract. Okay. That did happen. But no one has gotten guys who've signed NFL contracts. And then Lane Kiffin is just thrown out being like, oh, ask these other players that we got, ask their agents, ask their correspondents that they were also being contacted by other, colleges. So, but why hasn't anyone else been a part of an injunction and gone and committed elsewhere? You are the only one who's done it.
Yeah.
I
don't doubt that some very low level school would have said, hey, that guy played in the NFL. Nobody's signed him. Could we put a couple shekels together and get this guy? And then he, because he's playing at a low level school, it would have had almost zero impact on college football and nobody would have cared.
Once again, they have a compelling argument.
Yeah.
They really can say, you guys are dumbasses. You guys screwed over this class. They're the only notable class that didn't get an extra year of eligibility through all of this hubbubaloo that's happened in the NCAA. You screwed them over. They should get an extra year of eligibility. I think that's a compelling argument. And I do think that the athletes who, did not sign professional contracts, they should have an opportunity to look around if, and potentially go and play elsewhere. Like I can swallow that pill a little bit easier, but I'm just more so worried about the precedent this could potentially set if you're having guys sign NFL training camps and then go back and play college sports. Because what's going to happen in years after that? Some people are going to try and find injunctions and say, hey, look, that guy did it. That guy signed an NFL training camp, a deal, and then he went back to collegiate sports. That's where you come into the slippery slope. But I think the biggest part past all of the whether or not they have a compelling argument, whether or not they have the TRO, whether or not they have any of this stuff is, why is it always LSU? Why does it always have to be them? Why does it always have to be Will Wade? Why does it always have to be Lane Kiffin? We talk about that next on 1620 The Zone and Middays with Matt. Mike Florio has released an article on Kiffin and LSU.
Okay, this should be scathing.
Oh, I was typing in the comments. That's why my YouTube thing was on. It's basically so we talked about the CBS quote today that CBS Sports reported that Lane Kiffin had gone ahead and had conversations with others who remain in the NFL camps ahead of the league's cut day on August 30th to potentially get them to be a part of a Louisiana injunction that would allow them to transfer to his LSU Tigers and play for them after previously signing NFL contracts, which would completely question and potentially deteriorate the foundation in which college sports currently stands on. Florio talks about how that not only would, is he sicking the dogs on the NCAA to be sued, but also this is a potential clear interference on NFL teams' contracts with players. So Kiffin might be in trouble not only with the NCAA, but the NFL for basically contacting these players and telling them that they should go ahead and play for their college team instead of continuing to be in NFL training camps. Crazy. Sean McVay said he thought that he felt like he's taking a gummy listening to all of this stuff and hearing all of this stuff.
One of the best on-3 graphics of all time. Yesterday, picture of McVay, gummy across the bottom. It's right up there with wood.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
That was a really good one.
That's probably number one.
Wood is in my camera roll.
Yes.
Unapologetically in my camera.
I looked for it yesterday and I'm like, oh, I don't have it. I
have
had it.
Oh, I have wood. I don't know where wood is, but wood is in my phone. Look, I don't not a legal expert. I don't want to get too much into what could happen and what the rulings are going to be and all that type of stuff, right? Like that's not my I read about the stuff, but it's not my area of expertise, right? And I don't want people to mistake though me saying that some of these guys have compelling arguments with me agreeing with what's going on. I don't agree with what's going on at all. the people who sign NFL contracts should not be allowed back at college sports. I don't care what the situation is. Once you sign that contract, you are no longer a collegiate athlete.
But you could probably convince a dumb judge who knows nothing about sports that, legally
you got wronged, right? They were wrong. And which is why I said, clearly it's somewhat of a compelling argument because it's worked in multiple court.
I wasn't given the same accommodations as every single player who's ever played football.
So it's one of those things where I think it's dumb. I think it's stupid. It shouldn't happen. But they do clearly legally have somewhat of a leg to stand on because the NCAA gave it to them, and that's the NCAA's fault. But once again, I don't want to dive into the legal part of this all. My opinion is my opinion. This is dumb. This is stupid. I can't believe this is happening. But what is more like, it shouldn't be surprising to me anymore, but I sit back and I look at, it's not just Kiff anymore. It's not just Kiffin. It's just I sit back and I look at LSU and I'm like, is no one driving the wheel over there? Like can any of the adults stand up in the room and say, hey, head basketball coach, hey, head football coach, hey, women's basketball coach, can you just be normal for a second? Can you not just not cause embarrassment to our university? Can you not just for 2 seconds make our university not look like the villain, not look like the bad guys? For 2 seconds, can you not make us look like we just do not care at all about the institution that we are competing in? It's crazy. It's now past, Lane being Lane or Wade being Wade or Kim being Kim. It's now LSU as a whole that it's like, you are the problem. You are the issue. All of the people within that administration, you are allowing this to happen. What is wrong with you?
That governor of Louisiana needs to get back in there and re-tinker with things.
Mr. Landry?
Yeah. I don't think he did it right last time.
It's one of those things where it's like, it's not, it'd be one thing if it was all different, like players and actions and whatnot, right? It's now becoming like the same people. I think Nate Oates now is sitting back and being like, whoa, I'm glad I'm off the hook. He used to be the problem. He used to be the guy that we yelled at. Now it's Kiffin, now it's Wade, now it's crazy. And so Lane Kiffin went on the Pat McAfee show yesterday and, just spewed the political Lane Kiffin shtick where he said that, you know what, I'm not for NFL players coming back to college and all that type of stuff. But, this is a specific case that allows us, to do this. And if I don't do it, somebody else is going to do it, even though clearly nobody else has done what we're doing and we can't prove it. But trust me, ask Drew Rosenhaus, people have called him, I just, and then he talks about too, where he goes, well, we're going to follow the injunctions of all of these court cases, and we're going to follow all of these decisions. But then all of a sudden we can't follow this decision. We can't follow this decision that affects my school. Your specific decision literally could crumble the foundation in which, by the way, the foundation that the NCAA is barely standing on anyway. All right. It's not like the NCAA's got 6 beautiful pillars that are standing up that's holding this thing together. All right. The NCAA is being
strong governing body.
It's not. It's being held together by toothpicks and rubber bands at this point. Okay. That's the reason why they're begging for Congress, because everybody knows that everything Congress does is so solid and, it never turns out the wrong way.
Doing a great job over there. Keep it up.
It's such a mess. And yet Kiff and LSU and Will Wade could have been like everybody else and just been like, all right, hey, the people that this qualifies for, the Tony Osborns, right, who saw this coming, who potentially saw that the 2022 class could get an extra year of eligibility through a bunch of litigation, who Tony used his eligibility but entered the transfer portal when he could have entered the transfer portal, foresaw this coming, right? I don't have too much of a problem with those types of athletes, right, having that extra opportunity, because honestly, they should have gotten that extra opportunity, in my opinion, and the NCAA should have done this earlier. But to go ahead and say, to literally tamper with NFL contracts, to have them ask out of training camps, to then join an injunction, to then join your team, why does it, no one else did that but you? Why does it got to be you?
General rule of thumb. If the words trust Drew Rosenhaus ever pass your lips, you're probably on the wrong side of the issue. Just very broad, very general rule of thumb.
So Kiffin wants guys to ask out of their NFL training camp contracts to go back and play college for them. Will Wade, which, by the way, conspiracy Bill Simmons here, is this whole Lane Kiffin NFL thing, is this supposed to be like a cover-up for what's actually egregious with RJ Lewis going back to play college basketball and play at LSU? Because I feel like we've just kind of skipped over that now. And that has been on the B side of what's going on, because that guy actually had an extra year of eligibility. He played only 3 years of college sports, could have easily come back for a 4th, decided to spend a year signing G League contracts and then an Exhibit 10 contracts and two-way contracts just to then skip a year of college, could come back. That makes no sense. That makes less sense than what Kiff is doing. But yet we're ignoring that because of, the NFL and college football are bigger. That's conspiracy Bill right there. Now, while that is all going on, Kim Mulkey, also associated with LSU. Josh, this sounds like an SNL skit. Okay?
Yeah,
have you heard this story?
So, okay. There's so much going on with eligibility and players leaving and going and all this other stuff. Sometimes I read a story or a headline and I'm just like, it doesn't pass the smell test. I'm not going to read any further into it. Because, if it's real, I'll see it like 6 or 7 different places. I only saw this one place yesterday. I believe it's real, but I was a little skeptical yesterday.
I thought it was an Onion article, and then it's on USA Today. Okay, so obviously a valid source from Mitch Northam, which has direct quotes from Kim Mulkey. The story is that Kate Koval was expected to be the starting center for LSU women's basketball this year. The Tigers shared the news on August 24th this week, so a couple of days ago, that she was leaving the team. Okay. Koval is from Ukraine, and she left Ukraine in 2021 after Russia, launched, or she left Ukraine in 2021, and then, obviously Russia and Ukraine have been at war for the last 4 years. And so basically LSU decides to add a center to their roster, and that center is from Russia, right? So obviously Kate Koval, a Ukrainian who left her country, who in this USA Today article, it revealed that Kate Koval's, her gym that she grew up playing basketball in, was destroyed in the Russia and Ukrainian war. Obviously wasn't totally okay with Anna Maneva, a 6'5" center from Russia, joining the team. And so Mulkey said she was recalling what her discussions were like with Koval when they were deciding whether or not to add this Russian center to the roster. Mulkey said, quote, "I want you to understand, I'm not here to ask you to change how you feel about Russia." Mulkey recalled telling Koval, "I'm just here out of respect for your family and out of respect for you to let you know, because I know how personal it is for you." She continues, "Know that what I have to do in this business, I cannot make a decision to not recruit somebody that can help our program because of conflicts that's happening between two countries." She then said, Mulkey added that perhaps the two players could serve as, quote, ambassadors for friendship amid the war. Koval then left the LSU basketball team. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy what's going on out there. She it sounds like an SNL sketch. It really does. So you have all of this going on in that, institution. What good of a look does any of this look for LSU? You have Will Wade doing God knows what in the NCAA college basketball. You have Lane Kiffin trying to sign NFL players to the college basketball team. And then you have Kim Mulkey telling a center, a basketball player that she recruited and said, "I don't give about your personal conflicts with this player. If this player is going to win, I don't care that any of that is going on or how you feel. Sorry. Maybe you two can figure it out." And then she left and they don't care. It's crazy. It read like an Onion article. It's a mess. That institution's a mess.
Do you want to push the envelope and go 500 in a season? Come to LSU.
It's insane what's going on over there. All right, we're done. I'm done talking about it.
Done.
That Sith goes, yeah, that athletic department needs to be cleaned out. How can you allow any of the whole Will Wade, Lane Kiffin thing is one thing, and then that Kim Mulkey story is wild. It's wild. She recruits this Ukrainian player, then tells her, "I don't give a damn that your home country is at war and you have this conflict and you have these feelings towards this country. I don't care about that. We're going to sign this player because it helps us win. And I don't care if that causes a rift between you and this team. Oh, and hey, maybe you guys could be ambassadors for war. You can help solve LSU women's basketball is going to help solve the Ukrainian-Russia conflict."
I would like someone on the LSU women's basketball beat to tell me the next time Kim Mulkey has an open press conference, because someone's going to ask about this and she is not going to like it. And she's going to let them know, I don't like your line of questioning.
Josh Hodson might have to get a new odd news story after we read that Kim Mulkey story. Here on Middays with Matt.
All right, let's get rolling here, okay?
All right, let's do it.
We begin in Tulsa.
Oh,
Terror in Tulsa. I can just picture the news graphic on the local news.
it's in big red bold lettering.
Exactly. They're looking for a serial defecator in Tulsa. A mostly naked man has been terrorizing local businesses and is on the loose despite Tulsa PD's attempts to capture him. A business owner reported a man wearing a thong, a cut open mask, and a shower cap had gone number 2 in a dog waste bag and smeared it on the walls and doors of said business. The police responded. Yeah, I know, right? That's crazy. The police responded around 4:30 a.m. on Wednesday. Police were not able to find the serial defecator. They did, however, get a good look thanks to a security camera. And that is a large, naked man with a...
Oh, is he a big boy?
Yeah, he's wearing a hospital mask that you'd wear over your face with the mouth cut out. I'm going to call that a beret just because I can't think of, like, the right word for the hat he's wearing.
Does this guy, he's got to have a name, right? The Brown Bandit, you know?
Well,
or
that's
like
interesting because this man does happen to be black.
Dr. Schmear, you know?
Yeah.
Because he's smearing it all over. I don't think the Poop Bandit is not.
Yeah, we can do better.
Poop Pirate?
Oh, okay. That's
the Poop Pirate.
I might like that one.
Maybe he wears like an eye patch. Should we get in contact with this man and say, hey, next time wear a hook?
He is wearing glasses as well.
Oh,
if that helps.
Oh,
and sort of like a crossbody bag as well, because he's naked. He doesn't have any pockets.
This guy sounds like a WWE wrestler.
Kind of, yeah.
He's got a whole gimmick with a beret.
He looks like Kamala. I want to be very careful the way I pronounce that, so as not to get the station in trouble.
Next story.
Sadly, yesterday we lost icon Dolly Parton.
Yes, we did.
It turns out the next tropical storm in the Atlantic Ocean will be named Hurricane Dolly. These names are given to the Board of Hurricanes or whatever the hell it's called 6 years in advance.
Oh, I was going to say there was a progression.
Yeah.
You know,
they name 26 storms every year, A through Z.
Yes.
We just so happen to be on D, and it just so happens that this year's D storm is Hurricane Dolly.
That's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough. Yeah. We did learn about this in grade school, how they were like, but then it got real, like, it got real grim, and not Nick in the class, because we're like, all right, I want the next one to be Matthew. You know, I want the next one to be Derek.
And
like,
you want the one that's named after you to be like a big one that's memorable, and so people remember it, right?
No, you feel that way in second grade, and then you get to be older, and you're like, man, that's awful. Why me? Like, why do I got to be named after that? That's tough. You know, just saying. All right. Anyway, next one.
Final story. Finally, education has evolved to the part where an Atlanta elementary school has given students a safe space to fart.
In support. In support. I would love it. I think we should give me a safe space here in the 1620 Zone studio to fart. How about we turn the producer corner into Matt's fart corner?
We could. That'd probably be the best spot for it as well. Candy Sydney Browning, a 36-year-old second grade teacher, calls it the gas station, where a specific spot where students can pass gas, and there are air freshener sprays nearby. I cannot imagine this going well. I guess I have more details, just not a lot of time. It's viral on TikTok, so you know it's good.
That's got to be.
A lot of people praising the normalizing of bodily functions in this article.
Now, is it in the classroom or is it outside the classroom?
I believe it sounds like it's in a corner of the classroom.
That's disgusting.
What if someone's in the fart room and you have to go too?
Hey, you, what class you going to next? No, I'm going to literature. I got to stop at the gas station real quick, though. Just gotta let one out. Just gotta let one loose, and I'll see you at Mrs. Hare's math class. No problem.
In the TikTok video, she takes viewers around the tour of her classroom, and this includes the best route to take to the fart corner.
Is it like decorated in a certain way?
There is a small yellow sign marking the location as the fart corner, the gas station.
Yeah. You know what?
Teachers have joined in too. I teach middle school and we have a fart closet, another said.
Well, that's disgusting.
Wow.
That's,
You can't be putting kids in a closet.
As someone who would call myself a fart expert, you don't want to be farting in a place where there's very limited ventilation. Okay. You need to have, if it's right under the vent, that's actually the perfect spot to put the fart corner because you can blow it away or you can suck it up.
The yellow sign in the fart corner says gusty winds ahead.
I can see it with like flowers and like, little like streamers and whatnot. That's gotta, I hope it's not right by the door of the classroom too.
I would imagine it's in an unused corner.
We used to have our lockers in our classrooms. Can you imagine your locker being right next to the fart corner? That's got to be tough. That's like going on the Metro and sitting next to the bathroom and then being like, why does it smell over here?
Yeah, teacher hates me, right?
All right, we got to take a break here on Middays with Matt.
Name that duck coming up next.
Yes, name that duck. I'm going to give you a trivia question about a duck. If you name that duck, call in and tell us the right answer. We're going to give you bonus entries in our Oregon trip contest. So stay tuned for that. Name that duck. Coming up next here on Middays with Matt.
In the state of Nebraska, 1620 The Zone and our fine friends at Woodhouse Auto Family want to send you, that's right, you, to Oregon for the Nebraska game this October. Your chance to get registered comes if you can name that duck.
The game that is sweeping the nation on Middays with Matt, with the Zone Online contest that is sweeping the nation at 1620thezone.com. You can sign up to win your way to Eugene, Oregon to see the Nebraska Cornhuskers take on the Oregon Ducks. If you win the contest, you get 2 tickets to see Nebraska take on Oregon. You get 2 round-trip airfare tickets to see the Huskers play the Ducks, on top of getting $150 in gift cards to buy merch, to buy Ubers, to buy drinks, to buy beverages, along with a 2-night hotel stay. It is an incredible prize. And right now on Middays with Matt, we play Name That Duck. I'm going to give you a question where you are going to call in the first caller to hit the line after I finish reading the question. We're going to put you on hold. We're going to bring you on the air. If you answer the duck question correctly, you're going to get a bonus entry. So you're going to get, not only you can go to 1620zone.com, but you answer this question, you get it right, you get another additional entry to give yourself a better shot to going to Eugene, Oregon to see the Cornhuskers play some football. So here is today's Name That Duck question. This 1986 film based on a Marvel comic character starred an anthropomorphic duck. The film's failure forced George Lucas to sell his computer graphics division. That division eventually became Pixar Studios. Who is that duck? This 1986 film based on a Marvel Comics character starred an anthropomorphic duck. The film's failure forced George Lucas to sell his computer graphics division. That division eventually became Pixar Studios. Whom is that duck? We have multiple people calling in. We have our first caller, Josh Odson. Gonna put him in the kitty. All right, we got Mark. Mark, you are on the air. Whom is that duck?
Howard the Duck.
Mark got it.
Winner.
Bang.
Yes.
And away, Mark. You get some bonus entries to go ahead and win your way to Eugene, Oregon. Don't go anywhere, Mark. Stay on the line. We're going to get your information. Congratulations, my friend.
Okay.
Awesome. Mark, great job. Howard the Duck. See, I did not see this, the Howard the Duck movie. I didn't see it in 1980. I didn't see the original in 1986. I found out who Howard the Duck was through Guardians of the Galaxy, which is, I think, how a lot of young people my age found out whom Howard the Duck was. Funny enough, Howard the Duck also just became a very funny reoccurring character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Doomsday is on the way. We have some people in the chat. Jimmy got it, Howard the Duck. John got it, Howard the Duck. A lot of people. Jimmy goes, I like to think the chat got it first. So great job there. We're going to be doing this all week. So tomorrow we'll have a Name That Duck question. Friday we'll have a Name That Duck question. I think we might have 2 Name That Duck questions tomorrow, because we have 5 questions on here and we've only done this for 2 days. So I think tomorrow we're going to have 2 opportunities for you to call in, get some bonus entries. So we're not sending you to Eugene, Oregon. If you win this, we're just giving you a better opportunity to win your way there. But don't forget 1620thezone.com to enter into the Oregon trip contest. And it's brought to you by our awesome friends at Woodhouse Auto Group. They are awesome. Thank you so much, Woodhouse, for sponsoring this and this incredible contest to send somebody to see the Huskers play in Eugene, Oregon. So congratulations to Mark, who gets a couple of bonus entries there. We talked about LSU. Let's talk a little baseball. I'm going to give out an award today. All right?
An award,
an
a
award.
baseball award. There's a lot of season left.
This is an award we'll give out every single year. This award is called See You at the ESPYs Next Year. Okay. The See You at the ESPYs Next Year award goes to Kinley Rasmus. She's a Little League World Series baseball player. Yesterday, her team is, I don't know their team specific name, but she's representing the state of Alabama. So Alabama's team.
Southeast Regional Champions, I believe.
Yesterday, they were down 5-0 in the Little League elimination game in the World Series. She went out there, down 5, pitched 4 2/3 innings, had 6 Ks, helped lead her team back to a walk-off victory in the Little League World Series. Her team plays later today. Kinley already has set the record for most strikeouts by a girl in the Little League World Series. She's tied that record at 14, and she's also set the record for most hits in the Little League World Series by a girl. So congratulations to Kinley, whom her family has an insane lineage of athletes to boast. So looking at it here, her father was a former MLB player. Her grandfather coached a team that won the Little League World Series in 1999. Her uncle Colby Rasmus played 10 seasons as an outfielder in the MLB.
Colby Rasmus.
Yes. And then I think her dad played for the Braves, Josh Otts.
Whoa.
If I'm not mistaken. And then her grandpa Tony coached the 1999 Phoenix City team that reached the Little League World Series final. Her brother Jeff Mathis caught for 17 big league seasons, and her cousin Riker also plays on the Phoenix City roster. So there you go. Congratulations.
Yeah, 84 major league games for the Atlanta Braves. Corey Rasmus.
Look at that. So congratulations to Kinley on winning the first ever Middays with Matt. We'll see you at the ESPYs in 1 year award.
We don't give that away very often.
We do not give that away. It's the first time we've ever given it out. The inaugural "We'll see you at the ESPYs" award. Also, too, fun day in baseball yesterday. The big dumper. Hey, think somebody got their lick back? Come on now.
That's what we can call that guy in Tulsa.
Lick back?
No, the big dumper.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Lick back is a. That sounds like a.
That sounds horribly inappropriate.
Okay. Well, the big dumper's got it back, Josh Otts,
Yeah.
and he's hit 4 home runs in his last 2 games.
How Cal got his groove back.
He still is hitting 169
Nice.
on this. No, not nice at all.
Yeah, not nice. You'd probably like 269
Or
369.
369 or 469.
Well,
Man, if you're hitting 569,
whoa.
you need the greatest season of all
Hall
time.
of Famer.
I mean, Cal Raleigh played like a Hall of Famer last season where he hit 60 home runs. It's been a tough year for the Seattle Mariners, but hey, they go ahead and defeat the Philadelphia Phillies yesterday. They are now 2.5 games back in the AL West after the Texas Rangers lost yesterday to the Chicago White Sox. Unfortunately for them, Yordan Alvarez had an incredible performance yesterday against the New York Yankees. He went 3 for 5 with an RBI along with 2 runs. I was watching SportsCenter yesterday, and they were showing a video of him walking off the field, and he's just a man amongst boys. Like, he is just a massive human being. Fun day yesterday. Did you see that the Boston Red Sox won the game in the 9th inning yesterday against the Miami Marlins, but a drop third strike allowed the Marlins to score and send the game into extra innings?
I did see that.
That was a crazy ending. Jared Duran ended up crossing home plate. Ended up hitting a grand slam in extras in order to win that game. Yeah, grand salami. Boston was 14 games under 500 62 days ago. Okay? 62 days ago, they were 14 games under 500. They are now 14 games over 500. So in 2 months, they went from being 14 under to 14 over. That's the second best turnaround in over 100 years in Major League Baseball history.
It's a long time.
I think if we need to learn anything from this Major League Baseball season is you should fire your manager sooner.
If your gut is telling you something, yeah.
If you think you need to fire your manager, just do it. You know, if this season's taught us anything, nothing ever bad happens when you just preemptively fire your manager.
It worked for Penn State. It worked for Lots of teams are doing it.
Do you think there are some like baseball, like true traditional baseball people who are very mad that the Phillies and Red Sox were able to both turn their seasons around and more than likely end up making it to the playoffs after firing their manager?
Absolutely.
There definitely are some. They're like, damn it. Now all these teams are going to fire their managers. It's going to be a disgrace. I think it's just, it happens. It just occurred. I think it was just a unique situation for both of these teams. So fun yesterday, unless you're a Cubs fan. Absolute kicking the you-know-what.
I noticed you haven't mentioned the Braves beating the Dodgers last night.
Well, after that Shohei triple on the top of the ninth, I thought that was totally going to extra innings.
Let me tell you.
How nervous were you when Shohei hit that triple?
I was hyperventilating.
You sound like Peter Griffin after he hurt his knee.
Yeah, every pitch just
Who's your see, this is me not being a baseball guy. Who's your closer? He's such a stud.
Iglesias. Yasiel Iglesias.
Man, he recovered greatly yesterday. 2 strikeouts, and then your guy, Michael Harris, tracking under it. Edmund kind of got a hold of it. Like from the bat, like from the pitcher's perspective, it looked like he got under it. And I was like, oh, and then
had some good carry to it.
Harris came right under it, no problemo, put it right in his glove. Good win for you guys yesterday. Are you back? By the way, every single game in that series should be on national TV. Are you back on national TV tonight?
No. Well, does MLB Network count as national TV?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, then yes, all 3 games are on national TV.
Wow.
FS1 tomorrow.
Nice.
Is it a Connor Onion game? Is it a Kevin Kugler game?
Let me ask CO if he's
Kevin Kugler doesn't return my text. Someone text Kevin Kugler if he's doing the game.
On the Braves Dodgers call tomorrow?
Probably too close to football for Kevin Kugler.
Kevin's first game is a great one. Cincinnati, Tampa Bay.
Hello.
That's a hell of a game right there. The amount of story I briefly talked about this with Kevin at the Broadcaster Hall of Fame Awards. The amount of storylines that Kevin gets to play with in the Cincinnati Tampa Bay game is absolutely astounding. Joe Burrow, Cincinnati trying to get back to the playoffs. There is some whispers of is Burrow just kind of, is he coasting on that one AFC championship victory against the Kansas City Chiefs? Can he stay healthy? Zach Taylor is one of the, we talked about it yesterday, odds for first coach could be fired. Zach Taylor is pretty high up on that list. Tampa Bay, do you know who's even higher on the list of Zach Taylor for first coach could be fired? Todd Bowles. Do you know who's really pissed that he didn't get a contract extension, even though he firmly believed he should have? Baker Mayfield. Vita Vea didn't get the contract extension with the amount of years he wanted. 1 year, $30 million after his hold-in. Both these teams should have really made the playoffs last year. Neither of them did. Big year for both of them to make the playoffs. It's a hell of an embedded storyline matchup. I still can't believe, though, that Greg Olsen did not get the Chicago Bears Carolina Panthers game. That makes 0 sense to me.
I mean, would have been a nice little homecoming for him. They could have maybe done something on the field for him at halftime, in between quarters.
I hate being mildly sick.
Mildly sick.
I'm just, I have the sniffles and I have the what do you call that when someone says bless you? Sneezes. Sneezing everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm sniffling everywhere. It's annoying. Anyway, we will talk about some NFL training camp updates later in the show. We have some quarterback updates that we have to get to. Spoiler alert. Tua Tagovailoa lost a quarterback job that nobody was competing with him.
I got questions about this because I've heard this in other places, and I'm astounded. I'm not surprised. Astounded.
Can I tell you something?
Please.
I am astounded.
Okay.
I am. To be so bad that you are hoping and potentially rushing a quarterback with an injury history to quickly come off of an ACL is wild. What's even more wild is, do you know how much money Tua Tagovailoa is getting paid this year?
No, I do not have a clue.
$55.4 million.
That's quite a chunk of change.
Do you know whom he's getting that paid from?
The Dolphins?
The Dolphins.
Yeah, gotta be, right?
The Miami Dolphins are paying $179 million in dead money this year. So they're paying $179 million to guys who aren't on their team. 7 of their 8 highest paid players will not be playing for them this year. They have multiple players who are just out of the league who they're paying money. They have multiple players who are on different teams that they're paying money.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have one guy in their top 8 who they're actually paying to play on their team this year. They have 100. The NFL cap, the cap space, the salary cap for the NFL is $301 million. They are paying over 50%, maybe even 60% of their cap space to players who will not play for them this year. That's got to be a record. That has to be some sort of NFL record. That's how bad. I mean, that's exactly why they brought in the Green Bay, thought tank, if you will. They brought in Halfley and the, guys from Green Bay to go and figure that out. That's how bad. That's how everybody needed to leave. McDaniel and the front office needed to leave. That's how bad it was. So, anyway, we'll talk about more NFL training camp updates later in the show. Seems like JJ McCarthy will either get cut or traded from the Minnesota Vikings.
That's wild. That's the thing I had questions about.
3 weeks ago, Minnesota Vikings beat reporters were telling us that he was winning the job from Kyler Murray.
That's a bad few weeks.
He is now splitting reps with Carson Wentz. Yeah. But before we talk about all of that, buy, sell, hold, or bet. The Tennessee Volunteers and the Iowa Hawkeyes coming up next with a interview with Elliot Clough of Hawkeyes Insider and 24/7 Sports. All that coming up next here on Middays with Ben of the 1620 Zone Radio Network.
Buy,
Sell,
hold,
or bet. Buy, sell, hold, or bet here on Middays with Matt of the 1620 Zone Radio Network. Matt McMaster, Josh Hodson giving you college football preview as we get closer and closer to the beginning of college football, which actually technically starts tomorrow. We have Stony Brook taking on Delaware State.
Woo.
Hey, North Dakota. You can get a little scouting report in as North Dakota, who takes on Nebraska in a couple of weeks, will be in action tomorrow at 7 o'clock at ESPN Plus. I will be tuning into that game just to see what ND's got going on. But anyway, today we will be talking about the Tennessee Volunteers and the Iowa Hawkeyes on Buy, Sell, Hold, or Bet. And then Elliot Clough of Hawkeye Insider and 24/7 Sports will join us at 12:45 as he is a beat reporter, obviously, for the Iowa Hawkeyes. He'll give us his breakdown in his outlook as to how he thinks the Hawkeyes will do this season. Iowa 7.5 win total. They play Nebraska, obviously, at Kinnick Stadium to end the season in 2026. But before we get to Iowa, let's start with the Tennessee Volunteers. Going through, like, when I do these previews, like, I look at the results of what a team did the season before, and then I remember, hey, like, did I watch them? What do I remember about them? How many games? Like, and there are a couple where it's like we did Baylor, and like, I don't think we did Baylor, but I remember, like, I watched like 4 Baylor games last season. And then, like, I look at a team like Ole Miss, and I was like, I think I watched like 1 Ole Miss regular season game and like the 2 that they were in the playoff. And so it's a little random outside of the Big Ten in terms of the things that you remember. But Tennessee, they really didn't have that impressive of a win last season. Florida obviously fired their coach. They beat them. Kentucky fired their coach. They beat them. Arkansas, Mississippi State, UAB, ETSU, Syracuse, and New Mexico State. Like, those were their wins last season. Granted, they finished the year 8-5 after their loss in a bowl game to Illinois, which was a game that I watched. That was a fun game that they played. But still, 8-5 season, coming off of making the playoff the year before, kind of a step back for Josh Heupel's group. But they brought in a lot of newcomers from 24 into 25 and didn't really have that kind of signature win. But it's kind of the opposite. They bring in a lot of guys from 24 into 25. They bring back 14 starters this season from 25 into 26. One of the surprises last year was Joey Aguilar, who actually had the second highest quarterback rating in the SEC behind Diego Pavia, who I think a lot of people thought, like, wow, if Tennessee's going to end up being pretty good, like, Aguilar's going to have to play well. And he played well, and they still, and I think it's just because all the guys that they brought in, they lost a ton of talent from the year before. Like, it's one of those things, even good quarterback play couldn't elevate them to being awesome. Remember that Georgia game at the beginning of the year? They lost 44-41. That was a hell of a shootout between Stockton and Aguilar. They got, beat pretty badly against Alabama, and then the end of the year to Vanderbilt was just kind of an embarrassing 21-point loss. But I remember that Georgia game early. That was like early game of the year between Georgia and Tennessee. If I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure Tennessee had a really big lead in that game. And then just Georgia kept scoring and coming back. But regardless, 14 starters come back for Tennessee. It was an offense that was really good last year. They averaged 39.8 points per game, 466 yards per game. That's 7th in the country. They were 20th in yards per play at 6.5. Their passing offense was top 10 in the country with 293 passing yards per game. And their rushing offense wasn't necessarily at the tippy top, only 51st in the country, but still averaged 173 yards per game and over 4.5 yards per carry. They do not return their quarterback, Aguilar. Instead, they go to the 6'6" George McIntyre, who is a top 200 recruit, the number 13 overall quarterback in 2025. And so, it's going to come down to, and they're going to have a battle too with another guy, freshman Faison Brandon. He was a 5-star signee, the number 3 quarterback in the class of 26 and the number 10 overall recruit. McIntyre played really well in the spring game, according to all reports. So this team, they were awesome on offense last season. They bring back 2 of their top 3 wide receivers. Their top wide receiver, Brazel, obviously, he got drafted by Carolina. He ended up getting hurt in training camp. But they bring back their 2 other leading pass catchers, along with still having Deshaun Bishop, who had 1,000 rushing yards last season. He's supposed to come back and have a pretty good season this year. I think the most important part for them is their offensive line brings 4 of their 5 starters back. So they have a question mark at quarterback, but plenty of weapons on the wide receiver end, very suitable running backs along with continuity along the offensive line. Obviously, if they can get the quarterback situation figured out, which with McIntyre and Brandon, they have some very talented options. It's just, can those young quarterbacks who don't have a ton of experience, can they step up to the plate? Now, the problem last year that they have was defense, right? I talked to you about their awesome offensive numbers, 6th in the country in points per game with 39.8. But, the reason why they didn't get that top-notch quality win over a team like Georgia or Vanderbilt or Alabama last year was because their defense was way below average, 92nd in the country in points per game. They allowed almost 400 yards per game last year. They bring back a lot of returning production with 65% of their production and 15,498 returning snaps. That's 7th in the country. They bring in Jim Knowles, who obviously a very highly heralded defensive coordinator, was the DC 2 seasons ago for Ohio State when they ended up winning the national championship. And so, Knowles over the last 6 seasons has had a top 40 unit. 3 of those have been top 10s. Brett Ciancia writes very expertly that typically it takes a couple of years for him to get his system in, but they bring back plenty of starters, 6 starters from the team last season, along with Knowles brought a couple of guys from Penn State. Amari Campbell was the leading tackler for Penn State at the middle linebacking position. He goes ahead. He brings him to Tennessee. So this is a Tennessee squad that obviously with their returning production along with the returning snap count on both sides of the ball, very experienced. They have 2 pretty big question marks. And as a whole, can Knowles get the system rolling? And can their young quarterbacks, whether it be McIntyre or Brandon throughout the entirety of the year, right? You could see both of them at one point. Can they step up to the plate and play well? But once again, super talented team, a lot of returning production, has some experience. This is a potential candidate to take the next step and make the college football playoff, right? Their win total is 7.5. But if this team can linearly progress and take the next step, Tennessee could be, maybe a surprise team that makes the college football playoff to some regard. We're looking at their schedule here, Josh Hodson. Furman at home, at Georgia Tech, Kennesaw State at home. First SEC game of the year is with Texas, September 26th at home, followed up by a home game against Auburn, at Arkansas, home for Alabama, at South Carolina, bye week, home for Kentucky, at A&M, home for LSU, at Vanderbilt to end the season. I have 6 wins and 6 toss-ups for Tennessee this season. I'm going to put Tennessee in the bet area. I would bet.
Oh, really?
I would. I just think you just need them to go 2-4 in these toss-up games, right? Like I think they more than likely lose to Texas, right? They more than likely lose to Texas A&M on the road, but I could see them beating LSU at the end of the year. I could see them beating Vanderbilt on the road at the end of the year. I don't know, man. Like, Alabama's got some quarterback questions as well, and Tennessee's got a lot of continuity. I think Tennessee, you give me 6 pretty confident wins in Georgia Tech, Furman, Kennesaw State, Auburn, Arkansas, South Carolina, and Kentucky. I feel pretty good. I feel pretty good about betting on them and thinking that they can grab 2 of those 4 today.
I'm looking at it now. Yeah, I guess I don't disagree. Yeah.
I don't think it would be as confident as maybe some other, like I'm way more confident in Kansas under 5.5 than I would be for them. I'm way more confident in the BYU over than I would be in the Tennessee bet. I think before Maryland suffered some injuries, I was more confident in their over. But I think just off of the pure math, this Tennessee team, especially if one of those young quarterbacks can step up and you get that Jim Knowles bump, if you will, could end up making some noise in the SEC. Now let's go to Iowa real quickly because we'll talk about the Hawkeyes with Elliot Clough, the reporter for Hawkeye Insider from 24/7 Sports. Man, this team lost a lot, right? Loses Gronowski, who set the record last year for most rushing yards by a quarterback with 545 yards for the Iowa Hawkeyes. But you bring back Trevor Locke, you bring back Cade Piper. Both those guys have the ability to be All-Americans. Death taxes in Iowa having an awesome offensive line. Death taxes in Iowa having a really good tight end room that's going to produce at a high level. Obviously the quarterback situation has to figure itself out. And that'll be the big question mark. When hasn't it been the big question mark for Iowa? It really hasn't stopped them from having 8-9 win seasons in the past. They get Kamari Moulton back, who was super efficient, 5.2 yards per carry, nearly 900 yards last season. And then, they got 2 FCS All-Americans in their wide receiver room, and Tony Diaz is one of them coming from UTRG, who's getting a lot of buzz out of camp. On the other side of the ball, you have multiple high-level FCS transfers. You got Epinesa, their 5-star DN there. You got 2 4-star linebackers. You have an all-Sun Belt corner coming from JMU to kind of plug some of the holes in the secondary. This is kind of one of those things where it's like Iowa's Iowa, right? And yeah, they're losing a ton of draft picks, and Gronowski was exactly what that team needed last year. But they have some talent on that defensive end that, they have been, younger guys who have been coming up in the ranks, who have been learning the system, who are ready to make an impact right away. They have continuity on their offensive line. They're going to keep their power run game with Moulton. Once again, the quarterback conversation is going to be a big one. And so it's, will it be Heklinski? Will it be Hank Brown? Who knows at this point? We'll ask Elliot Clough of Hawkeye Insider. But I just think that Iowa's Iowa. And until proven otherwise, 7.5 wins is kind of a interesting bar to clear. Let's look at their schedule. Northern Illinois, Iowa State, Northern Iowa to kick off the year. All comfortable wins. Agreed.
Pretty favorable schedule here for the Hawkeyes.
I was at Michigan and Ohio State, at Washington. Their next 3 games could go 0-3. But if you pick up one of them, the back half of the schedule is at Minnesota, Wisconsin, at Northwestern, Purdue, at Illinois, Nebraska. You could go 6-0 in that final stretch. You could. And if you're looking at going 1-2 in that meaty middle of Michigan, Ohio State, and Washington with 3 easy wins to begin the year, it's a schedule that kind of plays out for you to potentially make the playoff, does it not?
I'm pretty comfortable that there's 8 wins on the schedule for Iowa.
This is a buy for me. This is a bet for me. 7.5, I'm pretty comfortable here, and I honestly think that if the roster they had last year had this schedule, right, I think they make the playoff. I think they go 10-2 if they had last year's roster with this schedule.
There's room for an oopsie in there, and
without a doubt,
and to still clear 7.5.
At Minnesota is not going to be an easy game, right? At I think Northwestern,
at Illinois,
at Illinois, right? The Nebraska game, game outside of last year, it's always close. It's always competitive, right? You're totally right. There is a slip up here and there, but it's a favorable schedule with a team that keeps a lot of their core together in terms of what they do well. It's just LeVar Woods, they lose their special teams coordinator. They lose Caden Weegener. They're not going to have that edge in special teams like they did the last couple of seasons, like they've had all these seasons, right? That puts them over the mark. Do they lose a little bit of that? And do they lose some margin with that? Potentially. Do I still think they can win 8 games with this schedule? Hell yeah. But we'll talk to Elliot Clough. We'll get his inside reporting, Hawkeye Insider from 24/7 Sports on a Wacky Guest Wednesday here on Middays with Matt on the 1620 Zone Radio Network. Hey, don't forget to go to 1620thezone.com. We got a bunch of different online contests that you can enter into. Black Label Society is in Council Bluffs at Skirt Cove on September 26th. Chris Stapleton in Lincoln for the All-American Road Show Tour featuring Nikki Lane October 7th at Pinnacle Bank Arena. Godsmack is in Lincoln as well for the Rise of Rock World Tour 2026 at Pinnacle Bank on October 13th and on November 11th at CHI Health Center. Motionless in White is in the Metro. You can enter to win those contests at 1620zone.com. And Mike Epps is coming to Omaha Saturday, September 5th at the Orpheum Theater. Listen all week to 1620 Zone to win your way into the show. You can also get special discounted tickets for $16.20 using promo code The Zone. We bring in from HawkeyeInsider.com and 24/7 Sports. He is on the Iowa Hawkeye beat after we did our buy, sell, hold, or bet preview. Elliot Clough joins us here on the 1620 The Zone Radio Network. Elliot, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Doing great. I have to. Some people here in Omaha have gotten upset when I said this about the Hawkeyes a couple of times, but I really believe it. I thought the Hawkeyes last year were a college football playoff team, Elliot. You guys lose your 4 games against very high-quality opponents by a combined score of 15 points. You took Indiana to the limit, USC to the limit. You took Oregon to the limit. If there's not that one weird call in the special teams in the Iowa State games, you guys end up probably winning that one. My question is if Kirk Ferentz had last year's roster with this year's schedule, how confident would you be that Iowa makes the CFP this year?
Oh, man, that's a good question. Yeah, well, first of all, I agree with you. I think last year was just a season of what if for Iowa, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like just one or two things go differently and they're 10-2, and it's a special season for the Hawkeyes, probably in the playoff. Second, I'd probably be pretty confident, especially if you're assuming, the passing game takes, if not a leap, it continues on an upward trajectory and is as consistent as it was in those final few games. Because you saw it against Nebraska. Like Mark figured it out towards the end of the year. Gronowski, of course, he's off to the NFL and with the Miami Dolphins now. But the Michigan game at the beginning of the schedule looks awfully different with a roster like last year's.
Mm-hmm.
And then that game against Washington also looks quite a bit different. If you can compete with Ohio State and win both of those games, and then we know Iowa in November, right? Like Nebraska fans definitely know Iowa in November.
Absolutely.
That program, Iowa tends to really turn a corner, really look like, if not one of the best teams in the country, one of the best teams in the Big Ten in November, and Kirk tends to win quite a bit at that point in the year. So that middle part of the schedule, it's really a Big Ten West schedule, and the entire back half really, and you face Illinois in November as well, and that's at Illinois, so it's a little bit different. But yeah, this schedule, especially the middle part, like I mentioned, Northwestern, Purdue, Wisconsin in there, you're starting to feel pretty good about who you are. And man, if Iowa had last year's roster, I would feel a lot more comfortable about going to the Big House, about going over to Washington on a short week. But yeah, not quite so confident with this year's roster.
Last year, Mark Gronowski, he broke the quarterback rushing yard record for you guys, along with 16 touchdowns. Major impact, but as soon as the season was over, right, it became the big question mark: who's going to be, the QB next year for Iowa? And now that we've moved through the offseason, we've moved through spring ball, now we're into fall ball, just a week away from the season. Do you feel more comfortable or confident with the Hawkeye quarterback situation?
No, in a word. Throughout the entirety of the offseason, what I've been saying on calls like this, on radio stations, podcasts, what have you, is I think that you and I have about the same amount of idea of who's going to be Iowa's starter as Kirk Ferentz. I probably feel a little bit differently now. I think they're probably leaning one way or another. I could make a case for either one at this point. But yeah, what we know about Hank Brown, what we've seen from Hank Brown has largely not been positive. You go back to his time in his starter as starter for Auburn and in his one game against Power 4 competition, and it's not great Power 4 competition by any means. It was Arkansas. He throws 3 interceptions in the first half. You move now to his time at Iowa, and the lone time we really saw him in meaningful snaps was against Indiana. Granted, it's the national champion, the eventual national champion, but if he hit the screen to Kamari Moulton late in that game, Iowa potentially wins that game because the lane was there. Kamari probably would have scored if not gotten down into the red zone. And that's one of those big what if moments from last year that we were talking about just a second ago. And then you look at Jeremy Hecklinski, who has not really played like at all.
Yeah.
He's completed 2 passes against Wisconsin and then against Minnesota last year in totality, ran for a score against Minnesota. Both those games blowouts. He took 3 snaps at Wake Forest. Then he shows up at Kids Day and throws 5 touchdown passes, goes 17 of 25 for 205 yards, no interception. And Hank Brown goes 9 of 21 for 42 yards. Now, has the competition been like that behind the scenes? No, it's been a lot closer than that. But now everybody's assuming Jeremy Hecklinski should be the guy. And if Iowa doesn't roll with him, then they're stupid after seeing 1 practice, right? So
Sure.
This is a scenario where Hank Brown is probably more of a game manager type, has the prototypical size. He's 6'4", I believe he's like 211, like over 200 pounds. Then you move to Jeremy Hecklinski, and he's generously listed at 5'11". I'm 5'9", and I think we're about at eye level. So generously listed at 5'11", and just over 200 pounds. More of that gunslinger type. Thinks he can fit it in any window, but then he goes out there and throws 2 interceptions, one of them being a pick 6. While Hank is more of the safe guy. I think one thing Tim Lester said, Iowa's offensive coordinator, said in the spring is Hank could go 17 of 20 for 17 yards because he's trying to do the safe thing. Whereas Hecklinski, you have those performances where he throws 5 touchdowns, but then you have performances where he might throw a pick or 2. And where you're going with that is Hecklinski could win you a game. He could also lose you a game. Hank Brown's probably not going to win you a game.
Yeah. That I think that's a very astute way of putting it. Elliot Clough of Hawkeye Insider, along with 24/7 Sports. Elliot, we have a connection here at this radio station, this show, with Caden Wegen, who obviously the Jet Award, the 2-time Jet Award winner, Jet Award established here in Nebraska. Johnny the Jet Rogers is who it's named after. And Caden has been on these very airwaves at 1620 The Zone. And obviously he's gone, drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers, angling to make a big impact for Pittsburgh this year, along with LeVar Woods going from Iowa to Michigan State, getting a little bit of an upgraded role being under Pat Fitzgerald. I mean, I know this is a weird question to ask a Iowa Hawkeye beat reporter, but is there any worry about special teams and any potential drop-off it might take this season for Iowa?
It is strange in the grand scheme of things. It's not strange for this season. So much turnover. You don't lose just Caden Wegen. You lose Drew Stevens, who's one of the best kickers in Iowa history. You lose Reese Dakin to Michigan State. You lose your long snapper in Bryant Worrell, who was just a 1-year rental, but now you got to replace him with either Ike Speltz or a freshman, a 4.5-star freshman, according to Cole's kicking, in Matty McLaughlin. But there is just, you also got to replace LeVar Woods, right? Chris Felici taking over that position after 1 year as a defensive analyst. But a ton of question marks on special teams. I mean, I think your best bet in terms of optimism or hope is probably looking at a Zach Lutmer, who's from over there in Northwest Iowa. And he's just one of those guys who's a little bit different with the ball in his hands. We keep hearing not necessarily comparisons, but some people making the comparisons behind the scenes of Cooper DeJean with a guy like Zach Lutmer. And you hope, if you're an Iowa fan, that you can see a little bit of that on special teams, on punt returns, possibly kick returns. I'd probably be more inclined to say punt return right now for Lutmer. But I guess Kirk Ferentz said it this morning at a presser, is they don't really know who's going to be kicker. They don't know who's going to be the punter. Didn't really talk about long snapper, but that's a question mark too. I mean, he brought in Eli Ozick from North Dakota State as a second-team All-American in the FCS, and you assumed that he was going to be a plug-and-play guy. Not really sounding too positive on that front. I guess maybe not positive, but guaranteed on that front. Caden Burr in that competition as a walk-on from Bettendorf, Iowa, and then you look at punter, and they got their Aussie, right? They got Boston Everett, but
Yeah.
then they brought in Tanner Philpott from Simpson, who is way more experienced, has actually played a game of American football in his life, actually had a longer average than Reese Dakin did on punts last year, 0.3 yards per punt, a little bit further. Career long is 78 yards, presumably going to have a little bit more control of the football. I lean Philpott, but I mean, seeing them at Kids Day, they both look pretty good, but I lean Philpott because of the experience. Tend to lean Ozick because of experience, but that hasn't been great. Long snapper, big question mark. Like you said, it's strange in the grand scheme of things, but it's a huge question mark for Iowa football, and it has been dating back to the spring, and it still is now.
Obviously you lose a lot in the defensive end. 11 of the top 14 tacklers are gone, but you got a fair share of very talented guys on the defensive line, along with Buffington and Weiskopf, who four-star linebackers, along with Jaden Montgomery, who was taking over that linebacker spot. I'm not too worried about the defense, especially with Phil Parker, just from an outsider view. So I'll quickly ask you here before we let you go, very quickly here, Elliot Clough of Husker Insider and 24/7 Sports, reading an Athletic article the other day, and it said that the main rivalry for Iowa is Iowa and Iowa State, but very slowly, it seems like the hatred for Nebraska is growing, and wins over Wisconsin are very highly held for you guys. Would you agree with that? Do you think very slowly Nebraska might be taken over as a main rival for Iowa, or is there some ways to go for that?
Well, I guess it's probably contingent on how the next few years go. Iowa and Iowa State fans hate each other. As an Iowa native myself, also from Northwest Iowa over there. My dad might be listening in Ida Grove, actually. But that rivalry is something that is ingrained in your bones if you're an Iowa native.
Sure.
And I think Iowa and Nebraska people, like, whether it's football or not, just generally dislike the other state. Now, I'm not a believer in Jimmy Rogers. I'm not a believer in this Iowa State roster that they've put together. If Nebraska and Matt Rule can, make it a little bit more competitive as compared to last year going forward, if Matt Rule can really continue to push that program forward, and it's not Nebraska steals one every so often, so much as it's actually back and forth a little bit, I could see that rivalry increasing, and that probably goes to basketball too. I mean, the Sweet 16 matchup, right? Like. Iowa really relishes wins over Nebraska, and probably, honestly, I would say more so than wins over Iowa State at this point. So if it's not close, if it's Iowa State just by a hair at this point, then I could easily see that shift.
Elliot, thank you so much for joining us here on Middays with Matt. Appreciate you as always and your coverage on Hawkeyes Insider and 24/7 Sports.
Absolutely. Thanks, Matt.
Elliot Clough of Hawkeyes Insider. We're going to take a break here. Wacky Guest Wednesday coming up next on MWM. Wacky Guest Wednesday here on the 1620 Zone Radio Network. Matt McMaster, Josh Odson, Middays with Matt. Every single Wednesday, we bring on a wacky guest at 1 o'clock. Then only Josh Odson knows whom it is. So, J.O., who is our guest this week?
This is a football coach in the state of Nebraska. Their team has a game coming up with Wayne State this week. Former Husker running back coach, friend of all, Nebraska Kearney football coach Ryan Held joins Middays with Matt.
Coach, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm excited to be on the show, and we're fired up to play Thursday.
Fired up to have you, Coach, as we're here on 1620 The Zone in Omaha, but obviously 97 Central, The Zone in Central Nebraska. I'm sure they're fired up to hear you as well. Like you said, Wayne State, this Thursday, 6 o'clock at Ron and Carroll Cope Stadium. Hey, I mean, last year, obviously you have the injury bug a little bit last season, but you're ranked a 7th of the preseason MIAA conference poll this year, Coach. Just how you feeling heading into the season and the depth that you have on this roster this year?
Yeah, we're coming off a winning season, which was big. We got some good momentum there, and we've done a really nice job in the state of Nebraska recruiting a lot of kids on our football team that are in it and are going to play this week in some role. We've done a nice job recruiting. I think this is have a chance for us to be a really good football team. We've worked really hard. We had 100 kids in the summer working out, which many people don't know at D2 level, it's not required. We can't make it mandatory. So it's all by choice and, commitment, which is big. And we've had a really good fall camp. I liken it to Brett Venables talking at OU, talking about how intense it is at their practices. Our practices have been really intense. So we're looking forward to play somebody else.
How do you balance that, Coach, from a perspective of going hard, making sure the guys get their legs under them, making sure they're back into football shape, but also not going over the edge, right? And making sure that you're not having, you're not putting your players in a vulnerable situation to potentially get injured. I've always been curious from, a broadcaster's perspective, asking a coach, like, how does that balance work for you, and how much thought and scheduling goes into making sure that you're getting the guys in shape and you're getting them ready, but you're not going over the mark too much?
Well, I think it really starts with, developing the standard of what you want, the type of practice tempo. We have whiz tempo where you whiz by, thud tempo where you thud guys up and live, and taking care of each other. Lopers can't hurt lopers. And our guys have really bought into that. And we're able to go out and really work situational football, work all these things that are needed, to get ready for a game, play very hard, but yet we don't hurt each other. And I've been on teams where that's not the case because guys don't really care and we're going to get theirs. Well, I think we have a culture, and it took us some time to get it done, that our guys can go out and we can be really intense, but we're not. We understand what the situation is and the type of practice we want in that. And our guys have really done a nice job of getting that done.
You have a player on the roster that is a very good friend of mine. I was able to get to know him when he went to the University of Nebraska, and then he ended up transferring to you guys at UNK. It's been a big part of your football team. Isaiah Harris, Zebo, a good friend of mine. He got hurt last year. I was just wondering, what is his status and his recovery, and how quickly do you think he could get back on the field and make an impact for you guys this regular season?
Well, he was the best player in the MIAA last year, and you could argue he was one of the top 5-6 players in Division II last year before he got hurt. Had obviously an injury, and he was able to get another year, which was huge. He's been working really, really hard, and anytime you have a lower extremity injuries, or any player, but a running back, psychologically, and then the physical part of it, he has just killed it on every level. He'll be a game time decision against Wayne.
Okay.
But I feel really good that if it doesn't happen against Wayne, I feel really good that Shadron moving forward, we're going to build him up, and for him to be a force this year on our football team, because he is a Aaron Judge, Bobby Witt, home run hitter.
Yes.
At our level back in the Nebraska days when, hand it to Ahman Green and he's gone, Lawrence Phillips, those guys, he's that type of player at our level.
I'm sure people who are big Millard South fans remember not too long ago Isaiah Harris running up and down Nebraska high school football and obviously making a big impact for you over there at UNK. You named 4 captains this week, Coach. Parker Wise and Carter Klein, 2-time captains for your squad this year. Just, what goes into that process for you and how big is it for you to have multiple guys who have been captains for multiple seasons on your roster?
Well, it goes to the testament of us being able to keep guys. We haven't had huge roster turnover, and roster management's big at our level, just like Coach Rule has. So those are local kids, Kearney kid and a Pleasanton kid. They've been here since I've been here, and they've stuck it out, and they've been really a pillar of what we want in our program. Then you got Dylan Jordan. That's a kid that, he's a 30 for 30 episode when you look at what that kid's been through. He was a Rivals 4-star kid out of Pittsburgh, Kansas that went to TCU, and, you can look him up. He got injured and blah, 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 and here he is as a captain. Devin Tate, my quarterback, came in, and then another local guy, Marty Mormino, punter from Omaha West Side, for us is a complete stud, changes the game for us, changing the field. So, we really feel good about our captains and our leadership. We got, like I said, a lot of Nebraska kids are going to play. They're going to have a lot of Nebraska kids. This is going to be a physical bloodbath, and we're looking forward to it.
Obviously every game is important. You try and go 1-0 every single week and you send that message to your kids and you treat every opponent the same. But, rivalry games are a little bit different. And you got 2 of them on the schedule with Wayne State and Shadron State. Just how fired up are you to play in those big games? And, how do you balance that with your players in terms of not letting the emotions of a rivalry game overtake, kind of the smart decisions and the quick decisions you teach them to make?
Well, when I first got here, I felt it was important to get both in-state schools on the schedule, so we were able to do that. I think it's been great for the whole state, number one, and for them as well. But the thing, having done this for a long time is, you can't hide behind rivalry games. They're going to be very emotional, and guys are fired up because we have a lot of kids that played with their guys or against in high school, which will be fun to rekindle those flames. But for us, I think we've done a nice job of, sticking to our process, getting ready for this, knowing that, this will be the first home game I've had at home to open the season. It's a Thursday night. Students just started school on Monday. So for our level, this will be as good of an atmosphere as there is in D2 on opening night.
Coach, you talked about in-state talent and how much in-state talent you guys have there at UNK. Who are some of the guys that maybe haven't made an impact in the past, but in-state talent that you expect to see on the field, that fans can expect to see on the field this season for you?
Starting nickel for us, if you remember him, is Kyler Lawrenson from Bennington. That kid is an absolute stud. He's got, he's got 4 years left. This kid, we can't block him. He looks like a guy that would be at Huntington Beach High School being a surfer. This guy's unbelievable. Maddox Georgius will start at right tackle from Millard South. You guys probably, remember him. Going down the line, locally here, Corn Conrad will start at DN for us from Kearney Catholic High School. You got Gunnar Lim will start at safety from us from Bennington High School. Javon Ludy, been in our program for 4 years, going to start at safety from Lincoln High. Cade Sipe from Lincoln, just a stud D tackle. Him and Cole Lutke are both from Lincoln that were a part of my first recruiting class. I could sit here all day and name guys. I think we've done a really nice job in the state of Nebraska, and we will continue to do that because when kids come here, they really like it. And I think we got a good thing going right now.
Coach, obviously, this wasn't your first head coaching job, right? You're interim head coach at North Alabama. You're the head coach over there at Northeast Oklahoma A&M. You're the head coach at Highland Community College over in Kansas. This isn't your first rodeo being a head coach, in college football, but it's now been 4 years, right, since you were named the 19th head football coach for UNK. In those 4 years, what do you think? How do you think you've grown as a head coach, and what are some of the things that you've learned, being the Lopers head coach?
Well, I tell you, and again, I learned a lot even from my experiences at Nebraska, the mistakes we made at that level. I mean, we obviously did some good things and not enough good things. But, I think at the end of the day, the number one thing for me is to make sure we recruit the right kids that are good people, that love football, that want to get a degree, and that have character. I've taken chances on kids that might be studs, but they're just not the type of people that are going to fit into your culture.
Mm-hmm.
So really understanding the type of kids we want within our schemes, fitting them within our culture, I think is really the biggest, takeaway that I've had. You got to have a short memory in the sense of in the transfer portal, you can love your kids, but don't fall in love with them because some of them will leave you.
Sure.
And you can't get butthurt about it. You can't worry about it. But I think if we continue to recruit Midwest kids is our DNA, if, within 5 hours, those are that's your top guys. And then you get the right out of staters going into year 4. I think that's the thing that I've learned the most. And then you just have to be a great program of development, right? The weight room. And that's obvious, but it's a very supportive community here in Kearney. This is a hidden secret out here now. I mean, this is a great community. There's a lot of support money out here. We got great facilities, 40,000 people in this town, great school systems. I mean, this is good as there is in Division II for sure.
Head coach Ryan Held of the UNK Lopers joining us here on Middays with Matt. Real quick, coach, I mean, the changing landscape of college football just seems like a lot of coaches at, Division I and even the lower levels of Division I, they're way more adequate in terms of getting 23-year-olds, 22-year-olds, 21-year-olds who have already played multiple years of college football as opposed to going down into the high school ranks. Have you experienced as a D2 coach that the talent that you can now acquire for the D2 ranks, is it higher? Do you see the talent increasing in terms of guys that you can go and get because, some D1 coaches and programs are way more accustomed to getting other players opposed to going to the high school ranks?
Oh, absolutely. The roster limitations, number one. I mean, we've reaped the benefits of that. I mean, we got Riker Evans to transfer here. That was at Nebraska. We got Eddie Schultz that was at South Dakota State to transfer here. That probably 3 years ago they would be on those football teams because you didn't have those limitations. And I mean, I got other guys as well. But yes, I mean, the beauty of it is we're getting high school football players that we never would have got before because they would have been scooped up by FCS. Programs or, Division I, even walk-on, the Nebraska walk-on programs, that's, whatever. I don't know how it works now, but it's different than when we were there and even a few years ago when I was with Frost. So, I mean, we're able to do that. That's why we're going to get our transfers where needed, but I'm going to build this with high school kids because parents, I think, are getting smarter and they're saying, you know what? You need to go get a doggone education because this transferring thing going here to there, losing hours, for an extra $600 a month ain't worth it. Just to have a little more money and NIL money, you go get a degree and go develop and become a man. And that's what I want people to know. They can send their kid here and we're going to treat them right. We're going to get them graduated. They're going to learn about life. I mean, heck, I was talking about stocks the other day. I got guys buying SpaceX stock they're going to keep for 20 years. You know what I mean? So we talk about all aspects of life here to help you become your best version. Spiritually, we have a great FCA program. So, I mean, there's just a lot of positive things going on. But it's finding the right kids that want to be a part of that. We'll lose kids in MIAA to other schools, but we know the type of kids that we want. And I think hopefully in-state kids are seeing more and more. This is a great option.
Fire me up, coach. Hell of an answer. Absolutely. Absolutely. A lot of people and I'm sure there are a lot of football parents very happy to hear you say that because it seems like we're losing that a little bit here in college football. One last question before we let you go. Head coach of UNK, Ryan Held, joins us here on Middays with Matt. First game this Thursday against Wayne State at home. What are you looking to accomplish, coach? Like, obviously winning the game, but what is the number one thing that you're looking for your team when they step on the field for the first time playing in in a rivalry game in this massive competition between Wayne State?
Well, it's two programs that pride themselves on physicality. So I want to see it's like two trains going down the track, right? And you're going to collide. Something's got to give, right? They want to play physical. We want to play physical. So we'll see how that turns out. I mean, we've trained physically. Now we got to be able to see if we can go out against somebody else and do that. I just want to see a smart football team that is really dialed into situational football, making sure they understand that, when adversity hits, how we can handle it, what we do, and let's just go out, fix the mistakes, have fun, see what happens. But I know this place is going to be popping. If you guys are, got time, buy the game. It's going to be, they're a really good football team. I think we're going to be really good. It'd be a fun game to watch. I mean, we're one of the first college games in the state, I would imagine.
You were ranked 7th in the MIAA conference poll, and you play your first game against Wayne State this Thursday, Coach. It's on the MIAA network and also on NCN. So we want to thank you so much, Coach, for joining us here on Middays with Matt. We look forward, Coach, we want to get you on throughout the season too. I mean, we hope to have more conversations with you, and we really appreciate you giving us your time.
Absolutely. I'd love to be on there. You guys just let me know. I'll be on anytime you want me to, because I love promoting the program, especially in Omaha. We got a lot of kids from there, and I want to keep our brand out there. So let me know. I'll be on there.
Hey, Coach, we need more football men like you in college football. Absolutely fired up by what you said about developing men, because I feel like we've lost that, and we really appreciate you coming on here and promoting that, because that's what it's all about, Coach.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Ryan Held, the head coach of UNK football here on the 1620 Zone Radio Network. Talk about a football guy. Yeah. Good God. That was an awesome promo that he cut there. UNK football kicks off their season this Thursday, August 27th, 6 p.m. in Kearney. Then they're on the road to Chadron September 3rd, also a Thursday game at 7 p.m., followed up by a bye week, and then they are back at Kearney at home against Washburn on Saturday, September 26th. We definitely look forward to having Coach Held on a couple of times throughout this season. Hopefully there are some people there at 97.7 The Zone over in Central Nebraska who were fired up by that interview. We definitely were. All right, we're going to take a quick break here. NFL training camp update coming up next year on Middays with Matt. We've had a fun day here on the show. Kind of flown by, eh?
Oh, yeah, big time.
It's flown by today. Talked about LSU and Lane Kiffin. We yelled about Kim Mulkey and her insensitivity to foreign conflicts. Will Wade is an ass. The NCAA, they're even stupider than we thought they were. The Iowa Hawkeyes have a real concern on special teams. Oh, no. Tennessee might be a surprise team in the SEC. What else have we talked about? Oh, the big dumper hit 4 home runs in his last 3 games.
Also looking for their own big dumper.
Kinley Rasmus is our first ever award winner of the We'll See You at the ESPYs in a Year. Team clap for Kinsley.
That was me. I was early.
No, I was late. Alex Sindelar said, did you talk about Dolly? We talked about Dolly Parton yesterday. Very, very
We talked about Tim Curry today.
I was, by the way, taken aback yesterday by the amount of tributes that were on television. That, I mean, even KETV, I think they re-aired an hour special that they had done previously on Dolly Parton. I mean, I think it made a massive impact, or just showed what massive impact that she made about her. A massive impact, obviously, that Dolly Parton made on all of us. It was funny. First off, the video they did yesterday, you quote tweeted it with her her nephew, right, giving her, hey, this is what Dolly wanted to say after she passed away. They made the video. That was very profound, man.
Yeah.
I watched that whole 2.5 minute video, and
just the idea of, hey, will you do this when I die?
I know, man.
Oh, sure. That will never happen. Okay, I'll just say yes and we'll move along. And then as time goes on, you're like, oh, okay, this is going to happen at some point. What do I do? Words are not enough.
Well, and also too, her nephew did an incredible job of not crying or bawling. I mean, it was a very, very well thought out, written, and executed video. And then I saw a video yesterday of her talking to Miley Cyrus. And you know, I didn't want to say this yesterday because, you know, it had just hit and a lot of people were very raw because of just the impact that she made. But Dolly Parton was first introduced to me through Hannah Montana. As a young man, she was Hannah Montana's godmother or Hannah Montana's grandmother or something like that. Something to that degree. And then obviously I'm watching Hannah Montana and Dolly Parton's on the screen. My mom goes, oh my God, that's Dolly Parton. That's literally how I discovered whom she was. And then obviously, you know, when I got older and more.
Your family loves Steel Magnolias.
Well, when I got older and more into country music, that's when I really started to learn about Dolly Parton. Because
she covered that Beyonce song, Jolene.
I wasn't into country music until I met my buddy Thomas Kaplowitz. And Tommy was born in Nashville, Tennessee, and he was the first one with a car. And so Tom would drive us everywhere.
Is this why you like country music as much as you do?
And so he listened to country music and he was like, I'm driving, I control the radio. And so because his middle name's Graham, so we called him Graham, like he'd always be playing country music. And that's how I got introduced to it. And so I didn't start listening to country till I was 15. Then I go to Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
That's all we're listening to. Then Dolly Parton became not the grandmother of Hannah Montana, but became, oh my God, the queen of country. But it was a great video of her and Miley where basically she's thanking Miley and saying, look, I know this is weird for you to think that I'm thanking you, but there is a whole generation of people who did not know whom I was, you know, because I was older and my greatest hits at that point were a bit behind me, but they discovered whom I was because of you and because of that show. And I think, you know, it kind of showed the character of Dolly Parton looking at Miley Cyrus and saying, I'm the queen of country. I'm way bigger, right? I'm massive, but thank you for allowing me to be in front of that audience. And obviously, you know, Miley was in a moment of graciousness and being like, come on, you're Dolly Parton. It was going to happen eventually. You know,
they're going to have a similar conversation to this on Sportsmanlike Conduct this afternoon. I believe one of the dumb debates that you'll hear today on the show, but nobody, not a single person that has ever lived or will ever live has a 100% popularity rating. I feel Dolly Parton might have been as close as it will ever get.
Dolly Parton the Crocodile Hunter,
Okay.
and Mr. Rogers.
Yeah. That feels like a good group.
And Bob Ross.
Yeah.
Those are the 4 S tier likability people, I would say.
It bridges cultures, political beliefs, age, race,
I think
gender.
I honestly cannot tell you another person outside of Steve Irwin, Dolly Parton, Mr. Rogers, and Bob Ross.
A lot of people got a yeah, but on their resume.
No, I don't think now. Bob does have one yeah, but because the original artist who did Wet on Wet painting got very upset that Bob Ross took it, and he was like, Wet on Wet, that was my thing back in the day. He stole it from me. As Soulja Boy once said about Drake, he stole my whole effing flow, word for word, bar for bar. Bob Ross had that happen to him. He had a Soulja Boy moment, if you will, from someone else.
You know, they often say that about Bob Ross.
So he might be
Soulja Boy moment.
He might be A tier, and Mr. Rogers, Steve Irwin. Is there another on the Mount Rushmore of likability?
That is literally the debate they're going to have.
Today
on, Dumb Debates. Yes.
Okay. My apologies.
Spoiler alert.
We won't take it from them. We won't.
Or an excellent broadcast tease. You decide.
Okay, great transition. B-Dog, 6223, writes it.
Yeah, we got to talk about this.
Comma, you still haven't once used whom correctly. Stick to who. Sorry, I got to be that guy. B-Dog, don't apologize. I'm flying by the seat of my pants here.
Do you know the correct use?
I think it's for whom or to whom, right?
When you are talking about a singular person.
Whom. So if I'm talking about, it's who. But I feel like I do talk about a singular person and use whom correctly. Do I not?
Use whom when the person is the object of a verb or a preposition, meaning they receive the action. Use who if he, she fits.
They whom got hit by the car.
Use whom if him, her fits.
Okay.
I was
talking to whom.
I was going to go to the mall with Ryan, with whom I've been friends with for 47 years.
I feel like
whom did you invite is the example.
If I'm a 60% confidence that it's whom, I just go with whom as opposed to who.
For whom the bell tolls.
So would you agree with B-Dog? I should stick to who? Because I'm trying to increase my I admittingly like 3 years ago learned about TO to TOO.
Okay.
And I've been using that correctly.
Stop saying stuff.
Okay. Sorry, I feel like we're on Gary and Matt again.
B-Dog is right, but also I don't want to discourage you from trying to better yourself.
That's all I'm trying to do.
And how do we learn? We try and we fail. What do we do when we fail, Master Bruce? We get back up.
Alex and Lincoln on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone Hotline.
Hi,
Prairie Flower
Alex.
Casino, play longer, win more. New segment alert: English grammar class with McMaster Wednesdays.
I think a large portion of the populace could use it. I don't think they'd like it, but I think they need it.
Justin text in. Just watch The Office. They will tell you when to use who and whom.
Oh, okay. Okay, let's pull that up. We can't play it because of copyrights, but
we'll find it at some point. Can we hit the ESPN music, please?
Oh, yeah.
We must do a training camp update today because a lot of things happened yesterday, especially in the world of quarterbacks, that I feel like I have to get to. And I would be a bad radio host, especially to who loves the NFL. Because, look, there was multiple people. It wasn't a singular person. There were multiple people like the NFL. To who likes the NFL, we got some updates in terms of quarterback situations. Number one, Ian Rappaport reported that it's, quote, impossible, end quote, to play Tua Tagovailoa after his performances not only in the preseason games for the Atlanta Falcons, but the practices as well. This is what you need to know. Michael Penix is coming off of an ACL injury. Okay. Michael Penix already had some injury concerns coming out of college. This guy tears his ACL. Tua Tagovailoa was in a one-man race. He finished second. They are more willing to cross their fingers and rush Michael Penix back from injury because Tua Tagovailoa has been that bad in NFL training camp. News. Tua Tagovailoa is getting paid $55 million from the Miami Dolphins to ride the pine in Atlanta.
Imagine having a quarterback making tens of millions of dollars and sitting him because he's terrible and playing your other option who is also terrible. Cleveland.
It almost, oh, by the way, Atlanta, they did it with Kirk Cousins and Michael Penix last year, where they paid a quarterback gobsmacks of money to, well, they're not paying him. The Dolphins are paying him. That's what the Yankees think about you. The Yankees are paying you $3.5 million to play against them. David Justice. So that's what's happening in Atlanta. What's happening in Philadelphia is that breaking, Jalen Hurts isn't playing well with his number one wide receiver, whom he ran out. No, him or her wouldn't count. Who he ran out of Philadelphia into New England. That's a good bit. I have to think about it now. He ran A.J. Brown out of Philadelphia. He's now killing it, by the way, in preseason camp, in training camp with the New England Patriots. New England is so happy to have him. Jalen Hurts has thrown 13 interceptions in 16 training camp practices this lead up to the NFL season. He threw 15 total interceptions in the 4 total previous training camps. He's thrown 13 in 16 practices. I mean, this is the reason, in part, that Philadelphia has decided not to give this guy a $65 million contract extension, despite the fact that he won them a Super Bowl 2 seasons ago and led them to a Super Bowl 2 seasons before that. I mean, I like Jalen Hurts. I think I like Jalen Hurts more than most people, but I mean, if he plays like that during the regular season, I don't know if he's going to be playing quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles next year. And finally, J.J. McCarthy. According to Mike Florio.
Yeah, is this real?
Mike Florio has reported that he is splitting reps with Carson Wentz to be the number 2 quarterback. And that it is a competition to see who will be the backup for the Minnesota Vikings. If J.J. McCarthy ends up not being the backup to the Minnesota Vikings, do they cut him? Does he end up getting cut?
Well, that's what I was reading yesterday, that they might.
Purple Persuasion, which is a big Vikings,
excellent name
Twitter account, and they're very much tuned into what's going on. It's not one of those like fan accounts. Like it's an actual decent site that I've seen some good reporting on. They're saying that J.J. McCarthy's representation is saying that we want out and that he wants to be traded, and he could go to another place that could be a better fit for him. Florio said, quote, "It's possible that McCarthy won't be a Viking come next Monday." So we went from 9 being picked over Darnold to then 9 thinking, all right, I'm going to get a second opportunity, to then Kyler Murray being brought in, to then a couple of weeks ago, McCarthy was reportedly outplaying Murray, to then very early on, Murray gets named the number 1 guy, to now J.J. McCarthy very well could no longer be on the Minnesota Vikings. Are they going to cut him? They're going to cut him? They're going to cut their number 9 pick from 2 years ago?
I just keep coming back to there aren't 32 people in America that can do this job. And that astounds me. Just wild.
This is according to Purple Persuasion. Once again, they got a couple thousand followers on Twitter. But according to Jason LaCanfora, who is a reporter, SI for the Ravens, who has 424,000 followers on Twitter. Here are possible fits for McCarthy.
Okay.
Chargers, Giants, Dolphins, Eagles. Where would
I don't think the Dolphins are looking for a fit right now.
I don't think they're looking for that. And I don't think Jackson Dart, outside of being hurt, was pretty good last year. He averaged 22.6 fantasy points per game, just to put in his impact and the number perspective. You think the Chargers take a flyer on him? But when would they ever move off of Herbert? Like when would Herbert ever be like, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Do I think the former Michigan head coach would sign the Michigan quarterback? Yes.
Didn't
yes,
think
I do.
of that, Josh Hodson. Didn't think of that. We'll think about this more. But that's your training camp update here on Middays with Matt. Let's hit a break. What to watch and dog of the day coming up next, followed up by USC and the crossover here on the 1620 Zone Radio Network. Josh Hodson.
Matt McMaster.
This is the last day where I'm going to have to bet baseball on dog of the day.
Oh, okay.
Oh, my God.
How happy are you?
We're going to start keeping track.
Okay. The
Starting
preseason
tomorrow.
is over.
Yeah, the preseason that lasted 8 months.
That's
that preseason. What are we watching tonight, Josh?
We got Tigers hosting the Rays right now on our TVs. 3-0 Rays in the 8th inning. Dodgers Braves back in the Peach State tonight, 6:15 on MLB Network. Little League World Series. Curacao dropped 10 runs on Nicaragua in the 2nd inning and are up 10-0 right now. Winner goes to the international final. Nevada versus Iowa comes up after that on ESPN. Winner to the U.S. final. And then Canada and Japan take on each other at 4 in an elimination game, followed by Ohio versus future ESPY winners Alabama at 6 o'clock. That's an elimination game, though. They're going to need the future ESPY winner to have a great...
Kinley Rasmus.
Yeah, I knew it started with a K. She's a pitcher. WNBA on USA tonight. Toronto.
Hey, congratulations to Angel Reese. 26 rebounds yesterday.
Hey.
A WNBA record.
That's great.
Everybody's fired up about it.
Let's talk about on-the-court things.
That's what I'm doing.
In that sport. And if you would like to binge some of Tim Curry's work, I have the following options on streaming services for you. Home Alone 2 is on Disney+. Clue is on Paramount+, as well as Congo, people forget. Muppet Treasure Island is on Disney+. Fern Gully is on Amazon Prime. The Hunt for Red October is just on YouTube.
Whoa, he's in The Hunt for Red October?
He is.
That's a great movie.
And, of course, Scary Movie 2 is also on Paramount+.
I feel like submarine movies have a pretty good hit rate, no?
Yeah, they don't make them that often, but when they do, it usually comes out pretty good. Crimson Tide with Denzel and Gene Hackman.
Just like a submarine pitcher. You know, you don't see a lot of submarine pitchers, but when you do, pretty damn good, eh?
U-571 with Matthew McConaughey.
Matthew McConaughey in a submarine movie is crazy. I got one question. How wasn't I in that movie? That's high praise. High praise for the Atlanta Braves. Plus 122 tonight. Roki Sasaki.
Whoa.
You stink. You're terrible, Roki. 4.42 ERA. I don't care. Go Braves on MLB Network tonight. Plus 122. Bet them. You like it? I love them. I love this show. It was a great show today. We had a phenomenal time. We'll have an even better time tomorrow here on Middays with Matt before we have our best time coming up next with USC and the crossover on the 1620 Zone Radio Network.